me show you that I feel you. Wanna freak, wanna ride with you. Wanna taste when I put my lips all over you. Can't get enough of you. Always thinking of you. So sweet, I can't forget. So good, girl, you make me sweat. Girl, I'm talking about
peaches and cream.
Oh,
I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend.
that's right.
Getting freaky in my baby limousine. It's even better when it's with ice cream.
Know what I mean? Peaches and cream.
I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend. Getting freaky in my baby
Girl,
limousine.
you taste so good to me.
Ice cream.
Oh.
I never thought that I would be so addicted to you. On top, underneath, on the side of you. Better yet, baby, right next to you. Love the way you're just flowing down, and I can feel it all around. In the front, in the back of you. Ooh, I love the smell of you. Girl, you know what I'm talking about. I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend. Getting freaky in my Bentley limousine. It's even better when it's with ice cream. Know what I mean? Peaches and cream. I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend. Getting freaky in my Bentley limousine. It's even better when it's with ice cream. Know what I mean? Peaches and cream.
You know I can't get enough. Wanna taste it in the morning when I'm waking up. Like each cobbler in my stomach when I eat it up. Got your arms around my neck and I can't get up. See the boys 112, we from the A. When it comes to eating peaches, shawty, we don't play. So all the ladies in the house, if your peach is it, put your hands in the air and represent me clear.
Ooh,
I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend.
that's right.
Freaky in my
Girl, you are so tasty. Tasty.
I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend.
Oh, girl, you taste so good to me. Oh, I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend. Getting freaky in my Bentley limousine. Know what I mean? Peaches and cream. I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend. Getting freaky in my Bentley limousine. Know what I mean? Peaches and cream.
I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend. I gotta have it. It's always on my mind. Know what I mean? Peaches and cream. I like it in my car. Even in my bed. Even on the street. Ice cream. Know what I mean? Peaches and cream. I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend. Getting freaky in my Bentley limousine. It's even better when it's with ice cream. Know what I mean? Peaches and cream. I need it cause you know that I'm a fiend. Getting freaky in my Bentley limousine. It's even better when it's with ice cream.
Everybody put your hands together. Told you I love you. That doesn't mean that I don't care. Ooh, and when I tell you I need you, don't you think that I'll never be there? Ooh,
Baby, I'm so tired of the way you turn my words into deception and lies.
don't misunderstand
Understand me when I try to speak my mind.
what I'm trying to say.
We say,
Oh, Cupid,
Cupid
oh,
doesn't love,
yeah,
but you won't know unless you give it a
ooh,
try.
Cupid,
Love
girl,
won't
Cupid,
lie,
alive.
but we won't know
No,
unless
it's
we give it a try. Give it a try.
when I ask you to trust me, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna cheat on you. 'Cause I'm gonna never do anything to hurt you. I'm misleading you. I love you.
Baby, I'm so tired of the way you turn my words into deception and lies.
Don't misunderstand.
And we are coming down in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Getting Sports with Drunk. I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler, and I'm joined by...
Nope. I know. I'm thinking. I know what I'm saying. I'm smiling. Because you guys know what name I'm going with today?
Smiling Souls?
No. Nerd.
Could that be a thing?
You're a nerd.
That's fine.
Baja Mentals?
Well, we could say that.
I mean, any name you come up with that had souls at the end pretty much works. Trick Daddy Souls, Ice Cream Souls, Milk Dud Souls, Shake
Kyle
and Bake
Souls.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you have the perfect name.
I kind of like Shake and Bake Souls.
Shake and Bake Souls is
I could
cool.
be shake and bake today.
I
Little
like that.
Shake
and
What were you planning on going
and
with?
bake.
he didn't
Cake
know.
Quick.
Cake Quick.
So are you going to stay with Cake Quick, or are you going to go Shake and Bake
I'm
Souls?
going with shake and bake today.
Shake and Bake Souls.
Shake and bake soul.
The Mouse Christmassy.
And the Red Baron. Quick, didn't even make it off the runway, it sounded like.
No, I gave you the takeoff.
Oh, I heard it.
Oh, no, so
Oh.
I'm the actual crash master.
I got you.
I start off the plane and
See,
I don't let
that
it
that
land.
plane left from LaGuardia wouldn't have crashed into the mountain. What'd you say over there? Sandpaper Souls?
Not my name.
No, but once again, it works. Your name is like the real life version of Kendall's band name reference.
Rent souls.
No, like his is like, if you can think of a creative band name, it's already been taken.
That's right.
If you can think of a creative nickname for Souls, it works.
I can think of a creative band name that's not taken.
Go ahead.
Cross-eyed puppies.
It's taken, 100%. That's definitely a Seattle grunge band.
That for sure is a band name.
Maybe not a popular band, but it's definitely a band name. There are definitely a couple 40-year-old guys in Seattle playing some, like I wrote a song just like everything Nirvana's written.
Yeah, there's a dive bar in the Northwest that is, featuring their music right now.
What's the name of the band again, Kendall?
Go as you aren't, as you're not.
It's what you call it, Cross-Eyed Puppies. Is that the name
There you
of it? Yeah. It's a pretty good name, actually. It's a shame that it already exists.
Butthole Kitchen.
Oh, 100%. There's a band called the Butthole Surfers, so the Butthole Kitchens is the wannabe version of that.
No, the wannabe is the Butthole Boogie Boarders. And then there's the slightly cooler but not as good band, the Butthole Skin Boarders.
The Deviled Egg Macaroni Sticks.
The deviled egg macaroni sticks.
Yeah, that's definitely a 4th of July band. Like, they play the picnics in, like, Poughkeepsie.
They have a short window of, 2 weeks where they're really popular.
Yeah, right?
You want to keep going?
No.
No, I mean, there's just too many. The options are endless.
Starting lineups? Souls?
Yeah, today I'm going with Ferris Bueller's type of beer from Hanging Hill Brewing Company. The Sessions India Pale Ale.
Souls, I saw something today that would have made you cry.
In a good way or a bad way?
Bad way.
What happened?
I was selling some liquor to an account. And in the back, where their breakage was, which I was going through the breakage to see if there's anything of mine, there was a completely damaged 4-pack of Mermaid Tears.
Should have taken it.
It was all broken. There was nothing in it. No, there was no beer in the cans.
Those are sick bastards over there.
And I was like, "Oh, do you have any more of this?" And he was like, "No." He's like, "I've been trying to order it, but like, I'm not getting any."
That's why, because he doesn't take care of his shit.
No, it came broken.
No, he doesn't take care of it. He just wants you to think that.
How dare you disrespect Chastity like that?
I'm fine with that.
He's a Sixers fan.
Okay? He ruined a perfectly good beer.
He didn't ruin it.
Prove it.
I can. I can show you it. I have it in my car.
Prove to me that he...
Why do you have it in your car if there's nothing in it?
I was going to bring it in the show and like tease Kyle with it, but I forgot about it.
Okay.
Till just now. Mass?
From Stop and Shop.
Not a sponsor.
Drinking Acadia spring water.
I got the superior one over here.
What's the superior?
Poland Springs.
No, it's not. It's Deerland Park. Is that what it is? Deerland Park?
I think it's just Deer Park. I
Park?
think it's just Deer Park. I don't know who sells that, though. I don't know who the executive owner of Deer Park is.
Right.
I'm starting off right now with the Two Roads Oktoberfest, but soon to come from a cylindrical oblongo
No, it's just a cylinder.
Keg-like formation.
It is a keg.
Well,
Here's
It's a cylinder
sick
keg.
SOB.
yeah, I am. The Hofbrau Oktoberfest, Volume 2.
I'm also drinking that. I didn't lead off with anything, though. I led off with this.
Because he's not a sick SOB.
This is a pre-show.
To answer your question, Deer Park is manufactured by Nestle.
Yeah, suck it there, reader.
Hey, can you find out, since you're so good at researching things, can you find out if what was it Nestea Cool or whatever it was?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like the lemon iced tea with the snowman on it.
Yeah.
You see if that's still in production?
I liked when
Continued.
Bullshit.
and they had it in the cans too. I like that.
I remember that.
I mean, they still can an ST, I'm pretty sure, but it's not the same.
That was Nestea Cool. It was different. Fuck him.
He's not calling me.
Fuck him.
Well, tell him to call now.
Toast of Excellence?
So mine is now. I'm a little late to the game, but bless you. I watched it. Bless you, and it's full entirety. The Uncle Rico Gardner Michoud video, the full thing, and it is excellent. It is everything. If you like Napoleon Dynamite as much as I do, and if you like a Gardner,
Minshew.
Here's where I get in trouble for this again. I've never seen Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh my God, Mass.
Well, that one's okay. That movie kind of sucks.
What? Kyle, that movie is so worth it.
It's not.
It is though.
It's not.
All right, well, he can call, I'll answer. But I watched the full video because I like the movie so much, and they sprinkle in so much, relevant detail. It's so good, and that's my late toast excellence, but I watched it the first time today, so.
Call him.
All right, I'll call. We'll be calling Maxine Washburn.
Also, we need to put the game up on the screen.
Sandpaper Souls? We can't if we have Mock on.
I could half screen it, I think. Or we don't. He doesn't have to be on.
Just no video.
Well, I mean, I could look at him. I'll just call him. He doesn't have to. Video.
Sandpaper Souls?
My toast of excellence is to Kyle Allen, 3-0 as a Panther starter.
Chris Massey.
Toast of
Man,
Excellence.
that wasn't even close to long enough.
Toast of Excellence to Frank Gore, only the third running back to start 200 career games.
What's up, fellas?
Shut up.
You got dissed by the fuck was his name?
Oh,
Shake and Bake Souls.
Shake and Bake Souls.
Oh, damn.
Your rebuttal, sir.
That was the rebuttal.
So,
What are you drinking?
I have one of the K-Quick Souls favorites, a Too Juicy from Two Roads.
And what's your toast to excellence?
My toast to excellence is to You know what? It's going to be to Adam Thielen for finally playing well after I traded him.
Good.
That's how it goes.
So screw that guy.
Maybe you shouldn't have traded him.
It's all right. I still have
Well-
Stephon Diggs, and he still did nothing.
Yep. I traded him too.
All right.
Pretty much traded all the Vikings I could, besides Kirk Cousins.
How?
What do you mean how?
No, not you.
Well,
All right.
anyway.
4-0, baby.
So, Mark, I'm sorry we don't have you on the video screen tonight. We have the Monday night game, which we are watching on our normal flat screen television, so you'll be just audio calling with us tonight, if that's okay with you.
If it
Yeah,
isn't too
cool.
bad.
Such enthusiasm in the voice.
I'm going to dial up the game here from the phone.
Are you in your man cave?
I am.
Is that some free phone football action?
No,
Free
it's
phone football.
Free phone football?
Free phone football.
No one else free phone
that
football?
commercial was stupid.
It's a dumb commercial.
Yep, I agree. It's pretty terrible.
But it made sense to say it.
The Doors are pretty cool, though.
They're not. A pretty lame band.
I would like to hear the Doors come out with a new album, a Twisted Sister cover band album. Featuring Billy Joel.
And they only sing Billy Joel's tunes.
Hey, so did you guys want to know a fun fact about the game tonight?
Yes.
5 minutes into the game, Matt Breida is averaging 83 yards a carry.
Wow.
Did he have an 83-yard touchdown run?
Yeah.
Well, then that's not that impressive. Well, let's get the easy news out of the way. So this week in GSWD Division Pick'ems, Souls came in first, I came in second, nobody else picked the team.
Did I not do pick'ems?
You know, it's funny. I thought about
Not
that
Pick'ems,
today.
the division ones where you pick a roster
Wait.
off your division. You sent me one, but it was after all the games have been
But
played.
I didn't look.
Doesn't matter.
Come
no,
on.
no. Okay, fine. You can be the first loser. You're the best loser.
I remembered. It was just,
I completely forgot.
I was working a lot. It sucks.
I was at work.
We picked them on Monday, and I sent a reminder on Thursday.
Did you send a reminder?
Also, I texted him that night, my team.
I worked late every single night for the past 3 weeks. Can I,
am
have a
here.
break?
Suze.
On
I completely
Monday.
forgot.
Could have just did it while we were just sitting here.
No.
Why? You did it last time.
I like when we passed the notebook around. That was a good reminder. I would just get out of the way.
Well, Souls, congratulations on
Thank you.
your victory.
Well, since I put together a team, can I at least tally it? I'll take the loss. Can
I did
just
tally it. You would have came in third.
All right, so it doesn't matter. But I'll still take the points when we do at the end of the year. So yeah, just pencil that in. That'd be great. Thank you.
I'm going to be honest. Looking at the division that I had, I probably would have lost anyway.
Is that the attitude we're going to have going forward now?
No, but I had the AFC West, and it would have been a lot of Chargers and Chiefs. And they did a whole lot of nothing.
Yep.
I started Dolphins tight end.
Why?
I just started the Dolphin. I didn't have any.
Yeah, you have to start a player from every team.
I didn't even give a name. I
Do you
just
want
said
to know
Dolphins
how the
tight end.
pick'ems went?
Yeah, we can do that. We can bang it out. We got a lot of NBA talk, so Mock, you could probably sign off after this.
So for the pick'ems this week, we had a lead change. I am now in first place at 38 and 23.
He fixes it.
Kyle is in second at 37 and 24. The Mass is in third at 36 and 25. Nose Picker is 35 and 26. Just Win Baby is 34 and 27. That's kind of cool. And then Jeff is 21 and 40.
Not bad for only doing it 2 weeks, though.
Yeah, he had a huge week last week, I'm pretty sure, 2 weeks ago.
Hey, Mock,
Yeah.
congratulations to you as well as all the members of Getting Sports or Drunk. We are a solid 0 for 4 this week in football for our teams.
You know, it's funny. I had like a little thing planned, and then I got held up here, so I had to Skype in. I was going to bring in a bunch of nips for everybody and just have silent, sad nips.
That's
If
fine.
I remember, Mock has to take a shot
Yes, I do.
because when the Rams were the only team to win, I had to take the shot, and all of you got off scot free.
When the Rams were the only one to win?
Yeah. Or are you talking about fantasy?
All of our teams lost.
Yeah, what are you talking
Did the Giants lose?
Yeah.
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 Oh, I thought they
By
won
like
for
a
some
lot.
reason.
They got spanked.
Who did you guys play?
The Vikings.
Vikings.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
But, Mark,
Oh.
feel free to bring those nips next week. That'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. So I was thinking we got a lot of we're gonna do real rapid fire on these NFL games. I'm talking super quick. We've got a lot of NBA shit to get to, and there's at least 4 games that people don't really want to talk about.
Oh wait, we didn't crack the beers.
I cracked mine. That's why I forgot.
I'm the only one that's cracking a beer. This is kind of...
Nah, he just cracked his. Make the...
You don't need to do that, guys.
Yeah, you do. All right, Thursday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks hold on in a nail-biter to beat the L.A. Rams 30-29.
That's all we need to talk about.
Real quick, Jared
Grab
Goff.
the
We're
leg,
done.
baby.
We're done.
Jared Goff throws 395 yards, 1 touchdown,
Can
1
you
interception.
hang up on Mock?
Todd Gurley, 2 touchdowns on 51 yards, and Gerald Everett, the big man, through the air. And Russell Wilson tossed 4 touchdowns with 118 yards on the ground, added by Chris Carson. And, it came down to a game-winning field goal opportunity at the end.
Kendall, are you happy?
Yes.
Mock, take the mic out of your pants.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there.
All right, moving on. 1 o'clock games. The Chicago Bears fall to the Raiders in
Well,
London.
hold on, quick thing.
Okay.
This deserves to be said. Chris Carson ran like a beast in that.
Kyle, how many times are you just going to
Well,
say
they didn't fucking hear it, okay?
They know it. They watched the game.
I don't think so.
I'm well aware that he ran like a beast. Thank you.
You guys are all bitches.
You'll have your time to shine when we get to your big fan, Al Horford. Chicago Bears fall 21-24 in London to the Oakland Raiders. Real sloppy game. Bears, very poor tackling and undisciplined. And the Raiders found their run game, and Josh Jacobs breaking the century mark for the first time in his young career.
Guess who sat him this week?
You?
Yep.
And Allen Robinson was the big receiver, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. Moving on, the Arizona Cardinals get their first win on the season, defeating the winless Bengals 26-23. Kyler Murray threw for 253 yards and also rushed for 93 yards and a touchdown. And David Johnson was the leading man with 65 yards receiving. Just think about that. Your leading rusher was a quarterback, and your leading receiver was a running back. And then Andy Dalton threw 262 and 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon finally had a decent day on the ground with 93 yards. And Tyler Boyd added 123 through the air. Bills Mafia came back to winning form, beating the Tennessee Titans 14-7 in Josh Allen's return from what looked to be a gruesome head injury. Head injury?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a concussion, yeah.
219 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Frank Gore, as aforementioned, ran for 60 more yards on the ground. Marcus Mariota and company had a very flat day. Moving on to the New Orleans Saints. Teddy Bridgewater improves to 3-0 in the backup role over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 31-24. Bridgewater throws 314 yards and 4 touchdowns. Kamara adds 62 on the ground. Michael Thomas, the big day through the air, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin continues to show his impressive reign on the receiving core of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, charring 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Jameis Winston, 204 yards and 2 touchdowns. Big takeaway from this game, the Saints held Mike Evans to nothing. No catches.
The other takeaway I have from that is Bridgewater is getting better every week.
He was a starting quarterback in the NFL for a while.
I know.
Yep,
but
and he's going to be riding the
didn't-
pine pony in 4 weeks, so it doesn't matter.
But I mean, really, he's getting better every week. So I mean, how much longer does Breeze have?
If Breeze comes back this season, they start Breeze.
No, I agree with you 100%. But his contract is also up at the end of this year, I'm pretty sure. So do they play with the idea of kind of moving on because Bridgewater's playing well?
I don't think so. I think it's Breeze's team and will be until he wants to hang it up.
You know what? You trade Bridgewater while his stock is high. And really screw yourself for the future. But who cares? Live short-sighted.
The Minnesota Vikings defeat the New York Giants 28-10. Kirk Cousins starts to find his form, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook returns to form with 132 yards on the ground. Adam Thielen, as Mock Sheen said, had his coming-out party for the first time, it seems like this season, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Daniel Jones, 182 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. The injury list for the New York Giants running back committee grows, and Hilleman is the lead carry guy at 20 yards, and Slayton, 62 yards and a touchdown. Mock, anything you'd like to add to that game?
Defense is terrible, and the receivers need to catch. We had too many drops. Too many big-time, important drops.
Fair enough.
But, it is what it is.
The Philadelphia Eagles decimate the New York Giants 31-6. The defense...
the Eagles did not beat the Giants.
I'm sorry. They're both shit New York teams. What do you want? The Philadelphia Eagles dominate the New York... They'll dominate them eventually. The Philadelphia Eagles dominate the New York Jets 31-6 in a route to a 10-sack performance. Carson Wentz, 189 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Howard, 62 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Zach Ertz, 57 yards and a touchdown. Nobody really gives a shit about whatever the Jets guys did. Moving
Gave up
on
10
to...
sacks.
the 10 sacks. 10 sacks by the Eagles. Moving on, another nail-biter at the 1 o'clock games. The Baltimore Ravens come out victorious on the road, 26-23 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mason Rudolph, scary hit, knocked completely fucking unconscious. 131 yards and a touchdown, though, for him. James Conner, 55 yards on the ground. Smith-Schuster, 75 yards and a touchdown through the air. Lamar Jackson, relatively quiet day through the air. 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown. 70 yards on the ground, though. Willie Snead, lead man for Baltimore. Really, really, really want to know what the fuck Cam Hayward was doing.
This was stupid.
Did anybody watch the game?
I didn't get a chance to watch it.
All right, so this is what happened. Overtime comes. The refs explain it over the loudspeaker like they usually do, right? Then he announces, as the visiting team, the Baltimore Ravens get to call the coin toss. They choose tails, and it's heads. Cam Hayward talks to the ref for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then decides, we're going to defend left. So the Ravens are like, okay, we'll receive. And he's like, what do you mean you're going to receive? Like, he
didn't understand the rules.
No, he just assumed that because they won the coin toss, they got the ball.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
How long has he played football?
I don't know, 5 minutes?
Yeah, I guess he didn't get the rules there.
I was just like I thought at that moment, that was just the writing on the wall for the Ravens to walk right down and score.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots decimate the Washington Redskins 33-7. Washington did have a lead for all of the first minute and a half of the game, and then gave up 33 points. Colt McCoy, 119 yards and an interception. McLaurin, banged up, recorded 51 yards through the air. Tom Brady, 348, 3 touchdowns, and an INT. Sony Michel come into form with 91 yards and a touchdown, and Julian Edelman having his big day. First of the season with 110 yards on 8 catches for a score. The Carolina Panthers defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-27. Kyle Allen, 181 yards and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, 176 yards on the ground with 2 scores. And DJ Moore with 91 yards on 6 receptions. Gardner Minshew, 374 yards and 2 touchdowns. Leonard Fournette, another century mark performance with a touchdown. And Chark, how do you say it?
DJ Chark.
DJ Chark Jr. Is the DJ for Junior? So did you just say DJ Chark?
Well, that's what they call him.
164 yards, 2
It's
touchdowns.
DJJ.
So even though it wasn't like the standard 50-point like offensive barrage we come to see from a lot of like the Rams and the Chiefs of the world, this was a pretty like offensive fire-powered game. It was a fun one. The Panthers kept trying to give the Jaguars a chance to tie it though, because they kept committing defensive penalties, so the game wouldn't end. They committed 3 defensive penalties in the last 10 seconds of the game, all 5-yarders. But eventually,
do you think Cam Newton gets his job back?
No.
I don't either.
Well, I don't know. It depends because like
if this guy keeps playing well and winning games,
he's not playing well. He's just not turning the ball over.
Even still, if it's generating wins,
right? But here's the thing though. He can keep doing what he's doing. Is there any chance that this kid keeps the starting job when Cam Newton's healthy if Christian McCaffrey has to miss a game?
I mean,
maybe. Cam's been playing bad football for 2 years.
But if Christian McCaffrey's not in the game, what is this guy going to do?
This is true.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Who's their backup?
But that's what I mean. Like,
just for ha-has.
Undrafted rookie kid.
I'm saying though, but just for ha-has, he threw for 181 yards. 81 of those were to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
true. Well, it will be interesting when it comes time.
We're gonna take a quick break for a trade alert. Bills have traded wide receiver Zay Jones to the Raiders for a 2021 5th-round pick.
Well,
as reported by Chris Mortensen.
That was worth interrupting?
Did that? I was gonna say that had to interrupt our show.
This happening on October 7th, 2019. It's a Monday.
Deshaun Watson, 426 yards and 5 touchdowns in the routing of the Atlanta Falcons, 53-32. Carlos Hyde had 60 yards on the ground, and Will Fuller with the big day, 217 yards, 3 touchdowns. Matt Ryan threw for 330 with 3 touchdowns, and Calvin Ridley had 88 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Julio Jones, pretty much big goose egg. Moving on to the 2 4 o'clock games, the Denver Broncos get their first win of the season, beating the ever so underperforming Chargers of Los Angeles. Phillip Lindsay, 114 yards and a touchdown. Sutton with 92 yards and a touchdown. Joe Flacco, 182 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Phillip Rivers, 211 yards, 2 picks. Melvin Gordon, 31 yards on the ground in his return. Eckler, the big man through the air, 15 receptions for 86 yards.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good on him.
And then the final of the 4 o'clock games was the Green Bay Packers defeating the Dallas Cowboys 34-24. The Packers went up big. The Cowboys continued to kind of claw back as best they could, but ended up just falling short. Dak Prescott, 463 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Elliott, 62 yards and a touchdown. Amari Cooper, 226 yards, 1 touchdown. Aaron Rodgers threw for 238 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Aaron Jones, 107 yards on the ground with 4 touchdowns and 75 yards receiving.
The Cowboys looked like 2 completely different teams in both halves of this game.
I know.
The first half, they looked absolutely terrible. And then the second half, they looked really good.
I wouldn't say they looked really good. I just think the Packers let up.
Packers had some defensive penalties that were like really later head scratching, but you're right. The Cowboys.
But I mean,
are good.
even towards, Dak started making some good throws downfield.
No, for sure.
Cooper was making the first half. They looked real bad. It was ugly. They kind of came to it in the second half.
And then in a tale of 2 teams on the Sunday night game, the Indianapolis Colts upset the Kansas City Chiefs 19-13. Patty Mahomes throws for 321 yards and a touchdown. Williams with 23 yards on the ground, and Pringle with 103 yards and a touchdown. Kansas City continuing the mantra of, we're going to surprise you every week with the waiver wire receiver of the week. Jacoby Brissett, 151 yards and an interception. Marlon Mack, 132 yards on the ground. And Hines with 46 yards. I think the big thing for this game, you talk about somebody earning their yards. Marlon Mack ran like a fucking beast.
Big time.
And they shut down the run game for the Chiefs.
Yeah, that was like very traditional, like old school
and
running.
It's going to be interesting to see what teams are going to do moving forward because Mahomes didn't look healthy. As healthy when he finished the game as he did when he started it with that ankle, and you keep bringing the pressure, you're gonna force him to risk re-injuring or injuring it further by scrambling, and one good pull of the ankle, one roughing the passer, 15 yards might be worth it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you think about it.
I think too. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the Chiefs though? The Chiefs have not looked good for 2 weeks in a row now.
Mahomes said it in the press conference. Teams are playing man against them, and
they don't have the receiving core to beat man.
No, they don't. Tyreek Hill is their receiving core to beat man. He's fast enough to get separation in that, and without him, they don't have the personnel to do it.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Their receiving core is getting beat up on pretty good. Once guys come back a little healthy, I think we'll see them start to put up points again. But their team is hurt.
Yeah.
Offensively.
Well, real quick, too, for this game, a big, and actually this should have been a toast of excellence to myself, but I'm a dummy. Justin Houston having a really good day versus his former team there. And
well, somebody had to because Khalil Mack didn't have a good day against his former team.
Yeah. So I don't know Justin Houston. He had a sack and I don't know maybe three or 4 tackles, but he was a presence. So, good on him. Good on him. Because he was going to be traded. He asked for his release.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Just kiss him already.
I tried. He doesn't answer emails.
All right, and then so we'll move on real quick to real quick to the Getting Sports with Drunk updates. That way we can just focus on all the fun stuff, the basketball stuff and things like that. The first matchup, we had Team Macaroni and Breeze getting their first win of the season against Tyler's team, 115-54 to 103. And Macaroni and Breeze can still add insult to injury as he has Robbie Gould kicking tonight. He had Amari Cooper go off for 42 points, but the rest of his team just did solid double-digit work. Tyler's team did have big performances from Jared Goff and Calvin Ridley and Justin Tucker, and something to speak about performance from the Green Bay defense with 9 points. But his 2 starting wide receivers put up goose eggs for him to get him the ultimate loss in Mike Evans, and I don't know why he started Devontae Adams. But a win's a win, baby.
Man, ain't that the truth?
Next up, we had Chris's team taking on D's Lutz, the Chris versus Chris matchup everyone's been waiting for. Chris's team put up 92.24 points this week in a losing effort to Chris Massey's team, who currently has 193 points and still has Cleveland's defense rolling. So he's already secured about a 100-point victory. He started Deshaun Watson, Dalvin Cook, Sony Michel, all put up big points for him. Patty Mahomes and Mark Ingram were the only to put up double-digit points for Chris's team. Moving on. Moving on, good. Kyle Soul's team puts up an impressive 187.72 points, beating the Geiss's Loose B, 141.66. Kyle Soul's team had good days from Tom Brady, Michael Thomas, and Aaron Jones, who all put up over 30 points each, and the Los Angeles Chargers defense, who put up 19 points in a losing effort. And I kind of fucked Souls. He probably would have had the most points this week if I did full points for receptions, but Eckler only got you 14, sorry.
It's fine.
But the Geiss's Loose just had 25 points from Allen Robinson and 41 points from Philadelphia's defense. And pretty much nothing else from everybody else.
Man, what a bummer. Your defense goes off and nothing else.
Up next was Roger Dodger, currently losing 96.62 to Eric's expert team, 101.4. Eric has Jarvis Landry and Baker Mayfield going, and Roger Dodger has Odell Beckham, Nick Chubb, and George Kittle. He's currently trailing 5. Could be close.
Quick shout out to Yahoo Fantasy for naming Eric's team for the 100th time.
And last but not least is Carry On My Wayward Son, winning 186 to 153 over Hock'em Sock'em Robots. But he does have Matt Burita going, who's already scored him 22 points. So you just need 33 more points.
If Cleveland's defense continues to look like they are, you might get that.
Fingers crossed.
Well, there you go.
Exciting stuff happening. Big applause back in the.
What nobody got though is I made a new clause though. The top 2 teams heading into week 8, I go in and make manual trades to the bottom 2 teams.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
Why?
I'm gonna do it. Just fucking force a couple losses so that it's Rebecca, and then because I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna take Christian McCaffrey and pluck her right out of her team. I'm going to go ahead and put it right into Hock'em Sock'em Robots team.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And I'm going to give her Sony Michel and Rex Burkhead.
Ooh. Are you the only team that hasn't won yet?
I won this week, you fucking asshole. And I traded away my entire team.
So take that, Mass.
I made like 37 trades.
Go look at the trades. I traded away like 5 guys.
Yeah, the entire my email was basically just trade exception and like, hey, you've been proposed by so. Fun stuff.
You gotta make some changes when you're down.
I agree.
You don't make the changes now, you're out of it.
That's right. That's right. It's smart. It's very smart.
I didn't draft a backup quarterback in the league, not thinking I was going to lose Breeze for several weeks.
Right.
And the quarterback roulette game has not been fun. So I made a trade to get a quarterback I can play. Made a trade to it cost me one of my best running back probably. And so I went out and got a different running back, but that cost me my best tight end. So then I went out and got a tight end on a homer trade.
There you go.
Yep.
And then he's going to trade me a nice red cup of Hofbrau.
You have a red cup in front of you.
Well, I got booze in here.
Where'd your Hofbrau go?
I never got it.
Oh, I sent it around. It's right there.
Oh. Sorry, my apologies, Riddler.
Hey, Souls.
It's bad mail system over there.
All right, so then what we're going to do is, because we got a lot of NBA talk to get to, and we'll kind of try to keep it uninterrupted as much as possible, we're going to go to a quick 5-minute break. We'll give Kendall a second to cue that up there. We'll go to a quick 5-minute break. When we come back, we're going to dive into... Well, we'll let Souls kind of discuss it at the time. But NBA season is upon us. And then, depending on how much time we have left up, I might talk a little puck and twig action.
All right.
But I might save that for next week. Because it's still young. A lot of teams haven't even played their second game yet. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break. We're gonna leave you guys with some "Dance with Me" on 112 Radio. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
But we'll be back in about 5 minutes here on the PPRN Radio Network.
And Breeder.
Looking at me, I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. My drop tops in the parking lot, and I'm gonna take you back to my spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. So would you dance with me? Dance with me.
I can see you over there, just chilling with your girlfriends. Can't believe you're by yourself. You should be here with me, chilling with me, drinking with me, freaking with me. Oh, oh, oh,
I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So would you dance with me? Dance with me.
my drop tops in the parking lot, and I wanna take you back to my spot, baby.
Time to run. So would you dance with me?
I can see it in your eyes that you're looking at the time. You wanna leave this party, and I know you wanna leave with me. To chill with me, to drink with me, to freak with me. Oh, baby, oh.
I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me,
And I really want you to get close to me.
so would you dance with me?
Baby, my drop tops in the parking lot, and I wanna take you. Oh, would you dance with me? Baby, would you dance with me?
Dance with me. I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me,
Baby,
get close to me. So would you dance with me?
baby, dance with me.
Drop tops in the parking lot, and I wanna take you back to my spot. But we still got a little time to run. So would you dance with me?
Everybody sing along.
If you're sexy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're sexy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're sexy and you know it, and you really wanna show it. If you're sexy and you know it, clap your hands. Yeah,
I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. My drop tops in the parking lot, and I wanna take you back to my spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. So would you dance with me?
Come on.
I see you looking at me. I can tell in your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. My drop tops in the parking lot, and I wanna take you back to my spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. My drop tops in the parking lot, and I'm gonna take you back to my spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. My drop tops in the parking lot, and I'm gonna take you back to my spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. My drop tops in the parking lot, and I'm gonna take you back to my spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. So would you dance with me?
The Starlight Lounge presents An Evening with the Progressive Box.
Adios, old friend. Yeah, I've got no secrets and no regrets. Well, a lot of regrets, but the point is I've got nothing to hide. Kind of like the way Progressive shows you their competitors' rates. You gotta put it all out there, baby. Excuse me, miss. Does this heart belong to you? Would you like it anyway?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparisons not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Here we are, all alone, you and me, privacy, and we can do anything, your fantasy. I wanna make your dreams come true. Can you hear? She's calling me between your legs, loud and clear. I wanna talk back to her, make love to her. I wanna hear you scream my name.
We can do it anywhere. I can love you in the shower. Both of our bodies dripping wet on the patio. We can make a night you won't forget. On the kitchen floor as I softly pull your hair. We can do it anywhere.
I love the way your body feels on top of mine. So take your time. We got a night, girl, you know. Slow, and I know you like it too, baby. Please don't stop. I feel it now. You feel it too. You're shivering. Ooh, you're putting me close to you. Just let it flow. There's no other place to go. We can do my bedroom, falling on top of my bed. Tell me how you like it, I'm kissing you, baby. Tell me, can I drive you crazy?
Understands. We can do it anywhere.
We can do it, baby. In the shower, in the bedroom. We'll do it all night long.
On the kitchen floor.
Tell me how you like it. We can do it anywhere.
Ain't too hot to stop, so we go from the bedroom to the floor. Let you know we're gonna miss you when I'm on tour. When our tongues touch, have a playboy, stick as much, roll a Dutch. Let me tell you, it turns me on. When 112 sing to you, what kind of feeling do it bring to you? I pump hard to you, stand being mean to you. I know the ice rolly clean to you. A true player's what I seen to you. And if you want it, we can do it in the black 500 with the top down. And overdrive when we ride, cause I'm hot now. You got me going, I don't think I wanna stop now. Z feeling like a criminal on lockdown. So let's get away to get away. You get.
And now, back to getting sports with Drunk on the PPRN Radio Network.
Welcome back to Getting Sports with Drunk. I'm your host, Cupcake the Riddler, and I'm joined by assholes.
Yep. Small ones.
Do we have a Skyping asshole right now?
I think we do. Mock, is you there? Yeah.
All right, Mock, you ready to talk NBA?
You know what? Yes.
Are you lying?
Yes.
Fair enough. Souls?
What's up?
Do you want to lead us off?
Quick thing, I have a quick shout out. What? Oh. Fucking Kendall, stop making things over there.
You know, there's wrestling on the TV, and if I didn't show Rebecca, I would have been crucified.
It's true. She would have looked at him and she was like, why didn't you tell me?
So I did the right thing. So screw her.
Yeah, and her boobs. So
yeah, I'll take $44 from anyone who would like to give it to me.
No, your rate went up. It used to be $40.
Well, it's the travel time.
Anyway, Souls.
Moving on.
Jesus. So quick shout out. Today's my girlfriend Bianca's mom's birthday.
Hey. She listening?
Yeah.
Hey.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday. Thank you for listening. What are you drinking? Give us a mention on Spreaker. We got the chat open.
Spreaker.
Hear a dog barking in the background?
Yep.
Right on cue, too. That's Marcin Washable's Doberman Pinscher. Sparky.
All right. Mr. Solis.
All right. Today,
host of Getting Sports with Drunk, 5-time drunkie winner.
Today, we're going to be going over the outlook of...
I'm sorry, Souls. I just didn't know. Is he a 5-time drunkie winner?
We're trying to boast him for the shout-out.
I didn't know he was a 5-time drunkie winner.
We're trying to boast him.
All right.
If you have to ask what a drunkie is, it means you haven't won one.
I've never won one.
I've never won one.
That's not true.
No, you're never going to win one.
All right, Souls, I'm sorry. Well, please continue.
Nope. My train of thought's ruined. You guys know I have a 5-second span of what I know I want to say.
All right, so we're moving on. Let's go back to talking about the NFL.
No. All right.
Well,
Now I'm joking.
All right. So we're going over the NBA outlook of this season. We're
So what was your bold statement?
Byron Leftwich will be the new coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers next year.
Tomorrow. Could be tomorrow.
Mark, did you hear that?
You kind of cut out. Say it one more time.
Byron Leftwich will be the new coach of the Steelers next year.
Oh yeah.
My bold statement.
We're firing Tomlin.
Yes.
All right, so quick question for you guys. I mentioned this in the group chat a while ago.
It's not his fault, but...
Do you guys remember if Souls had said the Red Sox were going to make the playoffs this year? Because I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I haven't gone back to listen to the tape, though.
Every person would have thought the Red Sox were making the playoffs this year.
But you specifically made a shot bet on it.
Okay. Here we go. I'll take it right now. Thanks a
All
lot.
right, well, it was 3 more
Okay,
shots.
no, I got
so.
one, okay? Relax.
I know. I'm just saying we have to stay true to the shot bets. Otherwise, the whole thing doesn't mean anything.
It's 3 more shots. I don't know if you
It
can
doesn't mean
take that
anything,
right
because every time Matt or Mark have to do it, they never do it.
That's not true. I do mine.
I don't know about all that. I think
what?
The people who really hold true to the shots are Souls and myself and the Riddler. So, as I'm taking a big sip right now.
You know, I thought for a second he was going to leave me out. I was just like, there's just no reason for him to
Mark
leave
didn't
me.
say anything, so he knows I'm right.
I don't back down from my shots.
Kai, you can say what you want.
I'm not wrong.
Mark, would you start doing more private stock if we made like Jack Fire hot toddies?
Ugh, I'll stop doing private stock.
Fire out there. It'll be interesting. I'm kind of into that.
No, you're not.
I've never had one. I can't really speak on it.
Just because it's booze doesn't mean you're automatically into it.
No.
I love that he just jumped. I'm into that.
It sounds good. I like the name Hot Toddy. It has a fun name to it. It's tea, right? Hot tea?
Hot titty.
Hot titty? Oh my god, that's on
Chocolate titties. Chocolate. I remember chocolate.
It's actually a pretty good mask. I give you credit.
No.
Good on you.
I always hated it.
You think he does a good impression? You're marrying that person. You're marrying that chocolate wheelchair person. That's what...
Yeah. That spine of a fish.
I remember when Sting came back to the WWE.
After watching
I was only smoking a carton of Winston's at the time.
All right, quick. Do a Carol Channing.
I don't have a Carol Channing impersonation.
You've seen Who's Line.
But you know who he does have, and we talked about this last week, he does have the Popeyes woman imitation.
Yeah.
Honey, you better know.
There we go. Yes. That was excellent. He came right out.
Jeff when you need it.
Kyle, who do you do the best imitation of? Come on, we're doing this now. Do your best
I don't know if I have one.
impression.
Yes, you do.
Carol Channing.
Yeah, but I have to do like the fingers, and it's
Do
been
the fingers.
and it's been bad since.
Listen, Trump Nixon rules forever.
But I haven't done it well in a while.
I took a picture of Amelia today wearing a Trump mask.
How's that?
And I got a.
It was creepy.
That's what we'll make out with Mike.
Souls, what's your stance on the beer drinking policy for the upcoming election?
What is the policy?
You know, you should all just drink whatever you want. It is a great time.
You
Thank
know,
you.
it's funny being on just the audio side because it sounds like a bad sex phone worker.
Kendall, do you do a good impression? Yeah, you do.
I don't
Come
know.
on.
What do I got? I mean,
No, Vito does a good Kermit.
Kendall, give me some Jerry Seinfeld.
well, Jerry Seinfeld is just kind of.
What's the matter?
Deal with airline food.
Kyle, your hair is a mess all the time. What's the deal with it?
All right, Mark, it's your turn now.
I don't.
No. You have to do one.
Paul, you got to end up doing one. Do you have yours lined up?
Yeah, I'm doing Marvin the Martian.
that is an excellent imitation. Actually, this side of the room between Mass and Riddler, they got it down. They have some, like, 2 or 3 really solid imitations.
Jeff's got a few good ones.
Jeff's got, well, I mean,
Well,
Jeffy
Kendall does too. Kendall does Ed from Ed, Ed and Eddie pretty well.
Hello, girlie.
Butter toast.
Butter, good.
You know, Vito does a good Kermit.
He also does a good Buzz.
Well, he is Buzz.
Come on, Mass.
Yeah?
Mock.
I'm not an impression guy.
Come up with something real quick.
Can you do Fozzie the Bear?
Hey, boo-boo.
That's not that's Yogi Bear.
I heard a bear. I just wanted to go for it.
Hey, Kermit.
Waka waka.
Hey,
Kermit,
boo-boo, you
you
want a
gotta-
picnic basket?
Come on, Mock. We're not talking any more sports till you try one. Come on, just try one. Just pick one and do it.
I'm trying to think of one.
There's some black fuzz.
Give me your best Elmo.
Hey,
You
Kermit.
know what's funny, Kyle? I was thinking that, but I can't go that high pitched.
Hey, Kermit, you got those nose beards.
Which color is red?
Throw off topic.
Paul, you're actually pretty good at that.
Do the Marvin.
Hello, Earthling. I'm going to kill you with my B-54 two-space modulator.
That's so good. And that's the only imitation I've ever heard anyone do that.
Can you do it again for me?
Hello, Mass.
I love it.
I'm going to kill you with shoving beer up your anus and my B-54 two-space modulator.
I love it.
For you ignoramuses out there who have never seen Looney
Marvin the
Tunes-
Martian is the referee in the NBA Final Classic Space Jam.
Hey, Mock, give me your best Papa John.
Papa John Schnatter.
I only learned the other day why Marvin the Martian was the referee.
Really?
Your
never
childhood sucked.
No. I've seen the movie 1,000 times. It just never clicked for me
I'm
why
just
he was
saying
the
your
referee.
childhood wasn't very good.
No.
Kyle, why was he the referee then?
Why? Because he didn't care.
No,
He was an
that's not.
alien.
Because he didn't care.
Yeah.
It's a perfect character.
Please
to have
enlighten
as
us.
referee.
Marvin is both a tune and an alien, so he has no particular weight either way.
I feel like this was written like in a forum somewhere.
I said it in a
I
non...
don't care who wins.
I'd bet money he read that on Reddit.
I'm both a bug supporter
It might have actually been
and an
on
alien.
movie details. I'm not sure.
Mass is that like classic movie conspiracy, like
Well, no, there's a subreddit called.
Massey can tell us unknown facts about Space Jam, but he's never seen Our Daughters Go to Heaven.
He is not, and he probably never will.
You're
All right,
missing out. It's a
That's
good
it.
movie.
All right, so
All right, Mock hasn't done a.
We got it. It's right here. Okay, this is we're going with this, and we're sticking with it. Okay. Mock, good or bad, doesn't matter. Just give us your best Daffy Duck.
Daffy Duck.
He's gonna have to go Google a line from Daffy real quick.
Well, I'm trying. I always get them confused.
With Donald Duck?
beat me to it.
Yep.
Oh, pretty good. Both pretty good.
Daffy
you
has a lot of
joking?
spit.
Well, I mean, Donald Duck is not a good voice. It's just like a high
It's
pitched.
painful. It's
like-
fucking
Come on,
nails on a
Mock, Mock,
chalkboard.
pick one. Come on, man. Just pick anything.
Listen, I don't like this game.
I don't care. Do it.
Duck season, fire!
All right, fine. What if you give us like an Elmer Fudd?
Anybody can do Elmer Fudd.
Fine. Okay, fine, perfect. We'll stick in that category. Give us an Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Everybody can do that. Come on.
No one can see you.
But we all know exactly
I-
what you look like while you're doing it.
I'll be back
Yeah, just I'll be back.
Wasn't bad.
with
That's
weapons.
what I picture a Czech Arnold Schwarzenegger sounding like. See, it's perfect.
Decent, very decent.
Yeah.
Honey, you better know.
Man,
I'll never
warms
forget.
my heart.
Well, Kendall was buzzed the first time Mass did that, and I thought we were gonna have to take Kendall to the emergency room because he was laughing so hard.
It was so
He
perfect.
was purple in the face. There was beer coming out of his nose.
Oh, it
Like,
was,
it was just-
perfect.
I mean, the only time I ever think he laughed harder than that was when he just saw pancakes fall out of the sky.
Yeah. I mean, there's very few moments I wish I could relive, and I think pancakes falling from the sky and Mass doing
Honey, you better know.
for the first time,
Or when Mass grilled the meat deluxe sandwich on a coffee table.
Yeah.
Was it even a sandwich?
it was really just meat.
I don't. I think it wasn't a sandwich. I think it was just.
I think it was an open-faced heart attack. All right, Souls.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Matt Burrito with a nice 15-yard run. Kendall, you might not be out of this, dude. couple bonuses, maybe another couple scores.
That wasn't Breida though.
What's Breida's number?
22. But still, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, actually, he's out for the game. They just said.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
There's more.
If he could be out for the next 2 weeks, that'd be great.
Souls?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we're doing this.
What impressions can you do?
I'm not answering that question. I have one.
You have 7.
It's Trump Nixon.
But Trump Nixon's good.
It's just funny to hear him say it.
It's technically 2 impressions.
Nah.
Because you got the voice of Trump and you got the physical of Nixon. I'm not a crook.
So, what other impersonations can you do?
I don't have any.
Can you do the impersonation of somebody who wants to do a basketball segment?
Well, at this rate, it's not going to get done.
Oh, we'll do it.
Oh,
Kyle.
shut your fucking whore mouth.
We're having fun.
Just do it.
We're interested. I'm interested anyway.
I really don't have it.
I'm sad now.
Next
Okay,
man for this.
Kyle, let's talk basketball. I want to talk basketball. Don't take your headphones off.
That was funny, Mug. Come on, Souls.
Say it. You guys are the ones doing it.
What?
Since when?
This is your segment. Do it. Come on.
I keep getting interrupted, so...
All right.
Are we really doing this butthurt thing right now?
So
okay,
anyways,
fine.
so
then I guess I'll just take the run on it.
So
And
Kyle,
just forget it. It's fine. So it was Souls' original idea. I guess I'll just take the run on it though. We're gonna do an NBA breakdown like for the upcoming season. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult now, but so we're gonna do kind of talk about the upcoming season. We could talk about expectations. We could talk about potential starters, kind of whatever run of the mill type of shit. Doesn't have to be, there's no blueprint per team, but yeah, just kind of around that type of thing. Like, mostly kind of like where you see them going for the season, what you make of the roster, what you think their max potential could be, type of deal.
Now, could you guys kind of give us, between you, because you guys both have the computers up, kind of like with the top, their starting 5 and like with the...
I have the projected starting lineups for every team.
Okay, that'd be great.
And then I have their depth charts too, in case we need to get into that. So we'll just start out in the East, or the Atlantic Division, I guess it's technically called.
Is that really what it's called?
I always get fucked up with the divisions in basketball because they're fucking weird. I think it's the East is Atlantic, Central, and Southeast.
It's funny. Basketball is the only sport like the divisions is like why
it means
even bother?
nothing.
Why bother?
And then out west, I believe it's
useless.
Out west, I believe it's Pacific, Southwestern, and Northern, maybe.
Now, real quick, I'm sorry, I don't want to digress much more, but the NHL, it's very similar names, though, is it not? Do they do it? Isn't it Atlantic NHL? Like Atlantic?
Yeah.
Pacific.
But no, there's one for like where the Penguins are in and
Metropolitan.
That's it.
Yeah.
The
fuck is that?
Washington is in that, right? The Metropolitan, which I mean is a fine name, I guess. Whatever. But
it dates back to some older shit.
Yeah.
But all right, so we'll start out in the Northeast. We'll start with the Boston Celtics. So the Boston Celtics.
You mean the USA Celtics?
USA Celtics.
That's what the internet tells me, anyway.
You dog. Hold on, I wanted to pull one more piece of information up. Kendall, tell me about your first car.
First car? Well, my first car was the Boston Celtics, a team that I very much hated. But it's interesting going into the 2019-2020 season. No more Al Horford. Kyle Souls, one of a very disliked player of his. No more Kyrie Irving, who has gone on to greener pastures. But what the Celtics have gathered on is a guy by the name of KW, Mr. Kemba Walker, playing in an area where he went to college. It's pretty cool. So he probably knows where the best place to get burritos and a good place to get a margarita.
I want a burrito.
Burrito would be good.
All right,
but he would know better than us.
So we'll start with the Boston Celtics. They finished last season at 49-33, good enough for 4th place in the Eastern Conference. As mentioned, they did lose Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
But they did acquire Kemba Walker via trade, and they also lost Al Horford through free agency. So the projected starting lineup for the 2019-2020 season is Kemba Walker, Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Enes Kanter.
Another addition with Enes Kanter right there. Enes Kanter, another addition to that squad.
Also a WWE 24/7 champ.
Also very true. Nice mention.
You're welcome. Anything for
Forgot about that. I think DJ Marshmallow is the owner right now. If you guys are following WWE, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
But then notable backups are bench guys, whatever you want to call them. Daniel Feast does provide some life off the bench for them, and Marcus Smart, one of the best perimeter defenders in the game.
Smart, as of being there, prior, you're drafted by them, correct?
I'm not sure if he was drafted by them.
Yes, he was.
I thought he was. I don't know. Was he a 5-year guy now? Sorry, guys.
4. They picked up his option.
So, I mean, all in all, the team, for the most part, relatively kind of stayed the same, with the exception of they took, to I think the regular NBA eye, to the average viewer and analysis, a step backwards at the point guard position. Not much backwards, but backwards nonetheless. And definitely took a step backwards at the center position.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, the East being so weak as it is, I definitely still see them as a playoff team. You did mention the USA Celtics, in which a lot of the youth from the Celtics played on Team USA this summer, but they didn't really look great. I don't know how much I really want to read into that, into what it's going to transfer into the season.
It's just different. It's odd. But you'd think that it would be the same all around, but it's not. What NBA plays versus Olympic basketball play is just a totally different game altogether.
I still think they're good enough to make the playoffs by a long shot, and I could still see them being like a mid-pack. They'll probably drop a couple seeds, maybe like a 6 seed.
I was going to say that. Where were they? Where did they sit last year?
4.
4. So that's fair.
You look at the teams in the East. Milwaukee relatively stayed the same. Toronto obviously took a step back. Philadelphia kind of, we'll call it, improved to an extent. They kind of even parred, like what they lost. They didn't get back what they lost, but they got better in different categories. So it's not like they really they kind of, I'll call it even keeled. We'll get to all that stuff, but you got Indiana's going to get their guy back. Brooklyn acquired, so.
Well, it's interesting too, and I mean, you guys could speak. Riddler and Souls could speak on this, because though NBA, you got the teams that have played is always standard. Is there at all something that exists where hey, your schedule matters, where you play certain teams at certain times, and teams? The NFL is the only time where that seems really weigh heavy on how your season's going to go.
In the NBA, it's just the Eastern Conference games matter more than the Western Conference games, but not really.
But it doesn't matter at what time you're playing.
It's not really, because it's just the Eastern Conference. Your divisions don't mean anything, so it's just the top 8 teams in each conference. So really, your overall record means more than your. Conference wins and division wins, they mean something when you get down to the absolute annals of tiebreakers. But for the most part, your overall record, every game is important.
Of course, I was just kind of curious.
The Celtics got a lot smaller, a lot weaker defensively. I think they're going to struggle very much so in the beginning of the year.
Now, where do you think that kind of, with what you're saying there, how much of that stacks up in division play? I guess is what I'm asking. I mean, we can get into those other teams too, but that's a very serious point that you're making. So
Enes Kanter, instead of Al Horford being the one guarding Joel Embiid, it's Enes Kanter.
Okay.
Who's not even in the same league defensively.
Sure, for sure.
It's the same with, the Pacers. Miles Turner's better offensively than Enes Kanter is defensively.
Yeah. I agree.
Jaylen Brown's got to cover the 4. He's only 6'7", 6'8", and he's skinny.
Tatum's playing the 4.
He's still a smaller 4.
No, I'm just saying.
So it's just going to be a lot of... They're going to get out-rebounded a lot.
They're also much faster now, though.
Yeah.
Much faster.
So not that it matters, but...
They're much faster, and their team is not... They don't have a... There's no, give up on the team. Kemba plays with a lot of heart. Enes Kanter plays with a lot of heart. The young guys play with a lot of heart because they still have stuff to prove. Not that Al Horford doesn't play with a lot of heart, but you see a little bit of that, kind of like the young guys got it type of thing, the slower rotations. Kyrie Irving, we've seen him give up on defensive plays in the past. Not all the time, not by any stretch of the imagination. He's a lackluster player, but but they've gotten faster and they've got more heart now. And now for the first time, even with still a decent roster, they have a much more underdog mentality, and they definitely. The one thing that they definitely have improved on is they have a locker room leader now. They don't have to rely on a young guy to be the locker room leader because Kyrie Irving's not a locker room leader. Yeah, that's not the type of person he is. There's nothing against Kyrie Irving. He's not a bad person. He's just not a vocal person. He's not an outspoken.
And that exists.
He's not a rah-rah guy. Kemba Walker is a rah-rah guy. Kemba Walker's been doing it since he won titles at UConn. He's always been the underdog his entire career. And now he's on a team that kind of is an underdog in terms of the powerhouses of the Eastern Conference. So the whole team kind of has something to prove. And he can be that mentor and leader for all these young guys and kind of be the centerpiece for all that stuff. And you have the veteran guy in Enes Kanter. At least they didn't go out and lose veterans.
Right.
That's the thing. They lost some veterans, but they brought other veterans in. They didn't go out and just get completely young and become a ridiculously young team. Because there is still enough talent on this team to contend for an Eastern Conference final spot.
Right. And just real quick, to go back to what you're saying about Kemba Walker, I think there's a certain degree of having that sort of, bravado, that oomph of, hey, I played in UConn, hey, I'm kind of back in my home territory-ish, if you will, that you want to bring even more than you had already. It would be the same hey, we made it big on the radio. We went back to Willimantic and got on the radio station there, the FM station there. That was big. It's kind of that same thing. You want to bring that same intensity. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And the other thing, I had something else I wanted to say about it too, but I forgot what it was. Oh, they have the nice thing too is in their back pocket they have the best head coach in basketball, which is always a good thing to have.
Yep.
And we could be seeing something. We could be talking completely different about the Boston Celtics team because there are rumors of them trying to make a move for a power forward of a Blake Griffin caliber type player or someone in that realm using the youth they have as bait for that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
So, maybe you sacrifice 2 young guys and some draft picks for somebody that can help you because they're still in win mode now mentality. They're definitely not a rebuild. That's not what the route they're going. So we'll move on. We'll stick within the division, and we'll move on to the Toronto Raptors. Last year, as we know, NBA champs, 58-24 for second in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the big takeaway from their offseason was the loss of
the funny guy,
Kawhi Leonard. Sorry, yeah, thank you. The projected starting lineup for the 2019 season is Kyle Lowry and Powell in the backcourt. With I can never pronounce his name, Inui Boy, and Siakam at the forwards position and Marc Gasol in the center. So yeah,
their problem was they waited way too long on Kawhi Leonard's decision.
So
they also lost Danny Green too, which is a very notable thing because Danny Green, he never fit in offensively in Toronto, but it doesn't matter how well you fit in an offensive scheme, playing defense, especially perimeter defense, like he does so well. It's a one-man show. You don't need to rely on the rest of your team to play defense on your guy.
Right. Well, my question, real quick, is: can you fault a star caliber player on your organization by his indecision? I mean, I feel like it's kind of a gray area.
No, I just think they should have made a move sooner. If they had a feeling that he was going to leave, just go another route.
And I don't mean to be like an asshole here. But what if things didn't turn out the way they did?
It's easy to play hindsight.
Of course,
with a situation like that, because on the flip side is if Kawhi had left and said, oh, I didn't stay because they went out and got X, Y, and Z, so it kind of showed that they were ready to move on without me. So I decided to leave. They'd be shooting themselves in the foot, and they'd be called a dumb organization, for not waiting for somebody of Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
It's a hindsight thing. You're in the heat of the moment. You had the chance if you could convince him to stay in Toronto. You had the chance to keep a NBA Finals roster relatively together. They do have some depth. They still have Fred VanVleet, who's a good bench spark guy, and Patrick McCaw. They also got Stanley Johnson, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, and Serge Ibaka. So I mean, they have a backup starting. They have a bench 5 that could beat the Suns 5. So I mean, they got depth.
They can still be a playoff team.
Yeah, they're still a playoff team.
They're just a lower seed now.
Yeah, they're definitely a lower seed now.
It's 6 to 8.
I don't think it'll be that low.
We saw so much growth from Pascal Siakam.
But I think he'll shine in the limelight. I don't think he's going to be hindered by it.
That's most of what I was saying. I was going to say, can he continue to rise?
I do, and I think that he's the perfect counterpart to Kyle Lowry.
Will he be an All-Star this year?
Yes.
Probably.
Real quick, this age range for Siakam.
It's like 23, 24.
So still kind of in really
extremely young
greatness of his career, of course.
He hasn't even hit his stride yet.
Oh. Well, that's a team that has a lot of upside, I think.
And they have Patrick McCaw.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
who wins championships.
Wherever he goes.
He's like the Garrett Blount of the NBA.
I just think this team...
Lion next year?
Nah.
I think people are discrediting what this team still has. Yes, they do not have Kawhi, and that is a huge piece. Are they a favorite to repeat as champions? No. Are they a favorite to even go back to the finals? No. Probably not even a favorite to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I think that a lot of people are really sleeping on this team and still being a mid to higher end mid seeding. I think I could still see them finishing out in the 5-4 seed range. There's still a lot of talent on that team. A lot of it is, this is for the first time, we're going to have to see a not proven on his own star in Siakam, and we're going to have to see what Kyle Lowry can do with a not guaranteed all-star performance from a shooting guard or small forward position. He's had DeRozan his whole life, and when he lost DeRozan, he got Kawhi. Now it's Siakam. But like I said, the depth there is still very good. Marc Gasol, yes, he's old, but defensive tenacity can still stretch the floor. Serge Ibaka can stretch the floor, plays with a lot of heart. Patrick McCaw is still young and hungry. Fred VanVleet plays with a lot of energy off the bench. There's a lot of depth there. There's a lot of depth, and especially if the Raptors can stay healthy, they can put out a decent lineup no matter whether they go small, big, bench, starter, mix, combo, whatever you want to do. They can put out a decent lineup on the floor at all times, which a lot of teams can't say.
Yeah,
a lot of teams cannot do that. There's 6 or 7 teams in the NBA that don't even have a strong starting 5, and to have a good backup 5 says something.
It speaks a lot for your organization. Yeah.
And they also have a very good head coach.
You're gonna see a lot of Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry together instead of Norman Powell. He's just gonna be the guy that starts and plays about 15, 18 minutes a night.
That's fair.
Well, they're going to pack that crowd big time.
Moving on,
Canada love their basketball team, so
oh yeah,
they'll be sold out.
Yeah. Moving on to the Brooklyn Nets, they finished 42-40 last year, good enough for the 6th seed in the East. Notable offseason transactions: they traded D'Angelo Russell to the Golden State Warriors, but they did acquire Kyrie Irving via free agency and DeAndre Jordan via trade, I believe, or was it free agency?
I think he signed.
So they acquired, it was a buyout, right? Contract buyout or something? Or no, he was a free agent with the Knicks. So they acquired DeAndre Jordan and Kyrie Irving via free agency. They also acquired Kevin Durant, who will not suit up for this season.
But he's there.
So, well, yeah, he's there, but I mean...
It's a presence.
It turned their layout for this season. That's it.
Right. I think they got a Sbarro too inside their
the pizzeria.
In their stadium.
Yeah. They also have a Popeyes.
Figured they get more laughs out of Sbarro, but
they also have a Popeyes.
Laugh, damn it, laugh.
No, I want them to do the damn impression.
Honey, you better know.
There you go. So your projected starting lineup for the Brooklyn Nets for this coming season: Kyrie Irving and Karis LeVert in the backcourt, Taurean Prince and Rodimus Krukas at the forward positions, and DeAndre Jordan at the center. I don't know how much truth there is to that. I think that DeAndre Jordan is going to be a bench guy. I think that Jarrett Allen is going to hold down his starting position.
Do you think there's any possibility of him playing the 4?
I don't think he can stretch the floor enough. And I don't think he's got. I think he's got good footwork, but he doesn't have the speed to keep up with the 4s in the NBA.
What's the age of Jordan now?
DeAndre Jordan's
30.
He's in his
32.
Younger 30s.
But so the twilight of that position,
Well, the twilight for the center position different from the twilight of like a shooting guard.
Plus, you also have to remember.
Of course,
plus the twilight for a player like him, it's also a much shorter span because as great as it is to be a dominant physical center in the NBA, if you're not fast anymore, like a lot of people like to make this reference, and it might be a dark horse statement, but I don't know how great Shaq would be in today's NBA because he wouldn't have the speed to cover these Nurkics and Jokics and Embiid. These guys that can stretch the 3, pump fake, and take a Euro step from the 3-point line in for a layup. I don't know. And DeAndre Jordan's not quick. He's got a lot of reach, plays a lot of heart. He's a tenacious rebounder. He's a great shot blocker.
He's good at what he is.
What I think this team has a lot of potential without Kevin Durant, and the reason for that is I think that Kyrie Irving is going to be a great rub-off for Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie. I think that Kevin Durant, especially because he's not playing and can kind of always be the kind of like the coach for those guys, can be a big deal for people like Joe Harris and Garrett Temple and Taurean Prince. And then Jordan can be that guy for Jarrett Allen. I mean, Jarrett Allen's really not that different of a player from Jordan. Plays with a lot of heart, blocks a lot of shots, gets a lot of rebounds, and if you feature him in the offense, can put up points, but no guarantees type of deal. I wonder if Breida got out, because I haven't seen him run since the first quarter.
He's ran a couple times.
They sat him.
They split carries.
I mean, you have a lot of veteran leadership on this team now. A team that was very young last year. You have a lot of postseason experience on this team, and you have a lot of championship experience on this team. Finals experience. I mean, you figure between Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, you're talking 7 NBA Finals?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. 7?
7 or 8.
Kevin Durant won 2 and lost 1. Well, he didn't really play, but lost 1, right? So because he was only on the Warriors for 3 years or 4? 3. So 1, 2, and lost 1. Kyrie won 1.
Lost 3 to 8. I think he lost 3.
No. Did he lose 3?
I think so, because I think it was the Warriors cap for 4 years, right?
Well, Kevin Durant also went as a Thunder. Kevin Durant went as a Thunder when they lost to the Celtics? I don't remember.
Heat? I think it was the Heat.
I don't think anybody besides the Cavs, Heat, or Celtics have won the NBA Finals for the past 40 years. I don't know who it was.
I think it was the Heat.
It was. It was the Heat's first. It was the Heat's first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they lost to the Mavericks, they beat the Thunder, they beat the Spurs, lost to the Spurs. That's what it was. It was the LeBron James Miami Heat. But nonetheless, a lot of championship pedigree, veteran leadership, postseason. Because D'Angelo Russell, as much as he was a leader for that team and playing out of his fucking mind last year,
he's only 24,
and doesn't have any postseason. Doesn't have any postseason stuff. Plus, they finished 6th, so they went up against the Sixers, right, in the first round.
Yeah.
So not that the Sixers have a plethora of championship pedigree and knowledge of the team, but they're just significantly better talent-wise.
Right, of course.
So
that team is going to be.
I have high expectations for the Brooklyn Nets in terms of the way they finish the season, not for a postseason run. I think that they could. I think their ceiling is a 3 seed. I think their expectation is a 5 seed. The reality is a 5 seed. And I think at worst case scenario, they're a 7 seed. I think they're a playoff team no matter what.
I think they might struggle to start the year.
I think no matter what, though, I think that they're a first round exit.
Just because
they just
inexperienced?
It's not. No, they have tons of postseason experience, and all the young guys have experience now because they played in the series and they played in a hard grit series. The thing is there's just not enough. I don't know if there's enough talent there yet.
Well, I guess I posed the question as inexperience versus other teams' experience.
Well, it depends who they play, though. Because, again, if this Brooklyn Nets team finishes in a matchup where they end up going against the 76ers, the Nets have the starting five for the Nets will have far more playoffs experience than the Sixers will. I mean, the Sixers' most experienced playoff guy is
Al Horford.
Yeah, it's Al Horford now, right?
Mm-hmm. He played a lot of time with the Hawks.
I love that's how it ended up, Kyle. It's so funny.
But even that, though, it was a lot. That's a lot of round one, round two exits.
Mm-hmm.
And Al Horford, they weren't making headway into the Eastern Conference Championship regularly.
No.
So but Kyrie Irving has been to the big dance at least 3-4 times, and DeAndre Jordan has had a lot of early exits, but has been in the dance a lot. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Durant gives that insight. He doesn't. You don't have to play to give knowledge. So, all right. So, moving on, we'll move on to the Philadelphia 76ers, who finished 51-31 last year, good enough for third in the Eastern Conference. They lost in the semifinals, Eastern Conference semis, to the Raptors. Right?
Game 7.
Yeah, Game 7 on the Kawhi bounce around buzzer beater. Key losses this year. They lost Boban, so they're obviously not a playoff team anymore. But no, they lost Boban, they lost Jimmy Butler, and the biggest loss was T.J. McConnell. But additions, they got Al Horford and
Josh Richardson
in the trade for Jimmy Butler.
They added a lot of defense. Their shooting is going to be a little rough.
Well, can't be much more rough than it was last year.
J.J.
Redick, too. That's the big one. They lost J.J. Redick, who, defensively, who gives a shit, but the guy could launch it against anybody except for the Miami Heat.
I knew he was going to say that.
It's true.
But Josh Richardson can shoot the ball still. He's not terrible. They got...
You can't pee, Kendall.
I must.
No. Just hold it.
I can't.
It's a mind game. Sorry, Kyle. Go ahead.
Weak mind.
So I think Richardson is a much younger version of Jimmy Butler. He's not the scorer that Jimmy Butler is, but he's typically the same player. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. The projected starting lineup for the Sixers day one will be Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson in the backcourt with Tobias Harris and Al Horford at the forward positions, Joel Embiid at center. And then notable backups for them are Mike Scott, who played very well for them last year, especially in the playoffs. They still have Jonah Bolden, the big nose fucker, who just energy off the bench, really what you want. You want guys that are going to run. And Kyle O'Quinn, who you did not have last year, right? That was a pickup? Or did you had him?
Signed him this year.
Yeah, so which adds some shooting from the bench, especially from the big man position.
And they got Trey Burke.
And they got Trey Burke and Zahari Smith as well, James Ennis. So there is depth there. But like you said, they tried to improve defensively.
That's all they focused on. The shooting will come eventually, but the defense is where they wanted to work on, and I think they did in a drastic way. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think their ceiling is the 1 seed. I think realistic expectations for them would be a 2 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think worst case scenario, they could if they hit some dry spells, they could finish 5. I can't see them finishing worse than 5, especially in the Eastern Conference.
They're a very talented team. It's just a matter of getting everybody to seeing if it clicks. Because you got some new faces there. You got a lot of
and injuries.
Yeah.
Injuries are going to be a big part. Every game Joel Embiid misses, you're more likely to lose than win that game.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, we're also going to need to see the takeover capabilities from Ben Simmons. We're going to need him to become that guy. When Joel Embiid, and the thing is in the NBA, it's still popular for people to rest. So, but we're going to need to see if he can be that guy when he's not there. We need to see if he can be that 35, 40-point guy. The triple-double guy, all that stuff.
I don't think he'll ever be the 35-point guy.
He has the gift to do it.
But I think he'll be like a 25-10 guy. Because he loves passing the ball. He's got the big man to do it now.
Imagine if you guys had, 2 good shooters.
I know.
He'd have, 20 assists a game. God, Golden's again, Jesus. All right, moving on to wrap up the Atlantic Division. The New York Knicks, they finished 17-65 last year. which I believe was good enough for
the worst record in basketball.
Was it yeah, right? Yep. Last in the Eastern Conference, 43 games out of first. Their projected starting lineup for Week 1 is a garbage can, a dumpster, Kevin Knox, a stinky garbage. No,
a lot of power forwards.
Yeah. Their projected starting lineup is to be rookie R.J. Barrett and Dennis Smith Jr. in the backcourt, with Kevin Knox and Julius Randle at the 4 position, and Mitchell Robinson holding down the 4 at the center. Notable backups: Reggie Bullock, Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson, Marcus Morris, Alfred Payton. There's spark off the bench, but nobody that's going to take over a game.
Some former Bears,
yep.
Bulls there.
Yeah, it's the New York Bulls.
They will be better than last year. It's a better roster. And just, if you're a New York Knicks fan, that's not what you want to see on your team.
For me, the biggest takeaway from this is that I think that this move by Bobby Portis is going to kind of cement his forever role as a backup power forward in the NBA. There's no room for him to grow here, because the best part of their front court is Julius Randle, and that's not going to change. I mean, Portis can play some center, but he's not big enough. I don't see him making much of a difference, and I think this is going to really hinder his game. There's not really much to talk about with the Knicks. They might be better. They might be a 21-25 win team.
They're going to go out and play with a lot of energy. There's a lot of energy up guys.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario.
Just a lot of guys that haven't got it done.
Best case scenario for them is to finish with on the low percentage lottery pick. Expectations is for them to finish 13th, 14th in the division, in the conference.
Well, it's interesting.
Worst case scenario, they finish last in the NBA.
And perhaps it's the only team that this holds true to. No matter what the Knicks do, that stadium will always be full. And it will always pack. And it's just how it is.
It's New York, though. I mean, but the thing is, though, and I think a lot of Knicks fans could attest to this. A lot of people go there because there's so many people that live in New York from all over the country. A lot of people go there because they get to see their team play there. People go to Madison Square Garden. I mean, when I was growing up, I went to Madison Square Garden because it was the easiest chance for me to see the Bulls.
For sure, right. It's interesting that I think this is the only place, the only team. Mark, don't yawn. Don't yawn.
I can yawn.
No, you can't. I think that statement will hold true too.
All right, so let's move on. We got to start speeding this up a little bit. The Milwaukee Bucks last year finished 60-22 for the best record in basketball. Ended up losing in the Eastern Conference Finals to the eventual winner championship, Toronto Raptors. Projected starting lineup for the beginning of the season is Eric Bledsoe and Wesley Matthews in the backcourt, with Chris Middleton and Giannis at the forward positions and Brook Lopez holding down the center. I think the big loss for the year would be
Malcolm Brogdon.
I always mix him and Bogdanovich up. Malcolm Brogdon, that was a big loss for them, but they do have George Hill, Pat Connaughton, Ilyasova. They had added Robin Lopez, who gives a lot of fire off the bench. And they have Kyle Korver, so they added some shooting. They added a lot of guys that can eat some minutes here and there and do some stuff.
So the Bucks basically traded Malcolm Brogdon for Wesley Matthews. Because Matthews was a Pacer at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of the same player in the concept of shooting, but Brogdon brings more defense, and that's where that's going to hurt the Bucks. I think they're going to be a similar team as last year, but I do think that they fall to be like a 2 or 3 seed instead of the 1. But it's really Giannis that everybody needs to watch because, he's going out of his way to talk to Korver about shooting. And if that comes into reality, that's a scary, scary thing for the NBA.
So the way we see the Bucks going into the 2019 season, do you, Souls Riddler, you feel that this is not an upgrade per se, but you think this is kind of a positive move that adjustments that have been made and how it will impact.
They didn't get worse.
Yeah, but I guess I'm asking how will they impact that conference?
They didn't get worse. They didn't get better. They kind of made lateral moves. Time will tell if chemistry can come right out of the gate for these new guys. Because overall, their starting five, with the exception of Wesley Matthews, is the same.
Yep.
And the bench guys, these bench guys are bench guys. They have been for a while. They know their role. One nice thing is you're going to get situations where you're going to go big and Giannis is going to play the 3 and you're going to have Brook at the 4 and Robin at the 5. You automatically know you're going to have that chemistry from your two bigs down low. And if Giannis can develop that 3-point or somewhat of a 3-point shot, even if it's a 25% 3-point shot, it makes things super scary because it's a team that can stretch the floor deep already without Giannis shooting the 3. I still think that their ceiling is the 1 seed. I think that they could still very easily be the favorite to be the 1 seed going into this season. I think their low expectations are they kind of have the same ceilings, reality, and basements as the Sixers. Highs being 1, low being 5. Reality for them probably a little higher because they are the reigning best record in NBA, and they didn't, the next 2 teams behind them took significant decreases in their rosters, so they're still kind of the top dogs. I'm talking overall NBA and Golden State and Toronto. They took significant roster bumps, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
But I think the ceiling for them is still a 1, and I think the reality could be a 2. I think the only team that has the firepower and the speed and the size to compete with them for the 1 is the Sixers.
Yeah. Very much agreed.
Don't act like you fucking agreed. You didn't understand a word I said.
You speak English. No, that was mostly Spanish, I believe. But yeah, a team that basically just, for them to be not a disappointment, just to kind of be in the realm of where they were last year. And I think that's how...
Well, it's going to be hard to repeat exactly what they did last year.
Well, of course, but to be in the realm, even if they're, we'll call it 5 or 6 wins short of where they were, I think it's still a huge benefit of theirs.
All right, we're going to move on to the Indiana Pacers. They finished 48-34, which was best for 5th in the East last year. Big notable offseason was they got Brogdon, and they're going to have Oladipo back.
And they picked up T.J. Warren.
The projected starting lineup is Brogdon and Oladipo in the backcourt with Sabonis and Warren at the forward positions and Miles Turner holding down the fort at center. Notable backups situations. They also went out and got Jeremy Lamb. And they do have Justin Holiday, but really they're a very top-heavy team.
They also have TJ.
Yeah, but they're a very top-heavy team.
If they can stay healthy, they'll be a very good team. The addition of Brogdon alone makes them better defensively with Oladipo in the backcourt. Two of the top 5 best perimeter defenders in the game.
You think Oladipo is a top 5 perimeter defender in the game?
Yeah.
That'd be a different discussion.
In my opinion, real quick,
I disagree, but we can talk about that another time.
So we got to move on. I've never been a big Oladipo fan. I get it. Coming off an injury, I don't think he'll return to any excellent form that as viewed he did have. I don't see that.
What do you mean as viewed? He did have excellent form. It wasn't viewed; it was proven.
Well, he had good numbers. I don't think we'll see those numbers again. That's my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm going off a basis as a casual fan, and I just don't feel like we'll see those numbers again. And that's
the nice thing is with the addition of Brogdon, they don't have to see those numbers again.
Well, yeah, you're right. Perhaps not.
And they replaced Bogdanovich with Warren, which is pretty much the same player.
So we'll see. Very intriguing.
Moving on to the Detroit Pistons, they finished 41-41 for 8th seed in the East last year. Their biggest offseason acquisition was
Derrick
Rose and Tony Snell.
Oh,
their projected starting
Snell was there.
Their projected starting lineup for the start of the season is Reggie Jackson and Bruce Brown in the backcourts with Tony Snell and Blake Griffin at the forward positions and Andre Drummond holding down Fort at the center. And as mentioned, notable backups include Luke Kenner, Derrick Rose, Markieff Morris, Thon Maker, and Big Three MVP Joe Johnson.
They could be a 6-5 seed.
Plus, they also have Langston Galloway, too.
I just disagree with the whole if they honestly think Reggie Jackson should be starting. He is the perfect six-man. He is not a ball distributor to be the starting point guard. He can be the six-man and score off the bench. That's when he thrived most, when he was with OKC. I think Derrick Rose should be the starting point guard of that team.
Yeah, I also don't think that Tony Snell should be anywhere near a starting lineup in the NBA.
Well, you know, that's what's sort of funny. When you mentioned that name, I had no idea that he was on a team anymore. Well, that's awesome.
He's going to be one of those guys that gets 10 minutes, take him out, don't see him for the rest of the game.
Because he's so black. All right, moving on. The Chicago Bulls finished last year at 22-60, which was good enough, I think, for like third from the bottom in the Eastern Conference, somewhere in that mark. Notable off-season departures are Robin Lopez, and that's really it. I'm trying to think.
That's about it.
Yeah, not a whole lot, really. I mean,
should have been Chris Dunn.
Time. That's just it's a waiting game. Mm-hmm. But notable off-season acquisitions include pretty much also nobody except for Thad Young and their draft pick, Kobe White. But their projected starting lineup for the start of the season, Satoransky and Levine in the backcourt with Porter Jr. and Markkanen at the forwards and Wendell Carter Jr. holding down at center. I have a lot of issues with them dealing. If they felt so inclined to get rid of Portis, then they should have re-signed Robin Lopez, even if it was to like a 2-year, just above veteran minimum deal or something like that. I don't think Wendell Carter's ready to carry the minutes load at the center position. I mean, his backup is Daniel Gafford, and then the never trusted Chris.
I think a lot of it's going to be Markkanen playing the 5 also, with Thad Young at the 4.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I think they're kind of playing it.
I also think they're going to do a lot of big ball, which is going to be, when they do the big ball, it would be Wendell, Markkanen, Thad Young, Porter, Levine at the point. Because Levine played point in Minnesota from time to time and played point in college a little bit. So
that's actually probably a really good lineup.
There's no ball distribution. That's the problem. There's no passing.
I honestly think the Bulls take a huge step up. Do I think they can be an 8-7 seed? But I think they just miss. But I think they turn heads. You know, they're younger, they're getting more experience.
Make a bigger splash than last year.
And I honestly think Kobe White takes over that point guard position by second week of the season. Just because he's a different type of player for that team. Yeah. He can pass, he can slash, he can shoot.
He's got better hair.
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge proponent.
But that basically
I could see that. I mean, I think the big question for this season really is less about Kobe White and Wendell Carter Jr. It's more about, is Boylan the man? You know, there was a lot of hoopla last year about issues between him and the players, and that's kind of been the hoopla for the Bulls coaching staff and players for the, really since Skiles left, Thibodeau left. I mean, and even at the end of Thibodeau's reign, there was, the Thibodeau, Jimmy Butler kind of bullshit. So that's, they got to figure out their internal problems before they start worrying about everything else. I think the ceiling for the Bulls is competing for the 8th seed all the way through the end of the season, whether they get it or don't. But I think they have, that's their ceiling. I think the real expectations would be finishing somewhere in that 10 range, 10 to 12, and basement obviously being nothing clicks and they finish right where they did last year. And rounding out that division is the Cleveland Cavaliers, who last year finished 19-63, which was good enough for second to last in between the Knicks and the Bulls. Their projected starting lineup for the season is Colin Sexton and Darius Garland in the backcourt, with C.D. Osman and Kevin Love in the forwards position, Tristan Thompson locking down the center. Notable backups for them are Brandon Knight, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr. not really much difference of a team. They added their draft picks, and that was really.
I kind of really just want to see if Kevin Love can stay healthy and get back to where he used to be.
Do you think that they trade Kevin Love in this season? Kevin Love this season?
If he has a good first half.
Yeah, if he shows the form, then absolutely. I think because there's no point in keeping him.
We all want to see him in Portland.
Kyle wants to see him in Portland. I don't know where that fucking came from. I personally want to see him in Golden State.
Kyle has a notebook of.
If he has a good first half of the season, where do you see his potential landing spots for him? I know it depends on how the season goes, but
it depends on injuries. You know, one injury to a championship contending team's power forward can make all the difference in the world.
Right now, though, let's say he looked great for the last half of last season. Let's just say that Kevin Love's returned to form. What teams do you think could use him right now?
I think you fit perfectly in that Portland uniform. You got, Lillard and McCollum with the 1-2. You have Nurkic coming back. You add Kevin Love, who can space the floor at the 4. Adds a whole new element to that game.
Could also see him fitting in very well in either tenant at the Staples Center. Could also see him fitting very well
in Golden State.
In Houston. Because if there's anything Houston loves, it's people that don't play defense or can no longer play defense but can still shoot threes. And my biggest thing about Kevin Love is and always will is ever since the kind of like injury riddledness of him, really since he moved to Cleveland, really, but people just forget how dominant of a rebounder that guy fucking was. I mean, dominant of a player. He was a dominant player for the
average 20-20 like every other night.
But I mean, that guy rebounded so much for such an undersized power forward. Real Dennis Rodman-esque style of heart over height kind of thing. Nate Robinson.
How about this? If Minnesota is fighting for a spot, potential Kevin Love going back to Minnesota. They need a power forward.
I'm all for the Kevin Love doing really well and getting traded earlier in the season because call me biased, whatever, but I think that there's a lot of lost potential in Larry Nance Jr. I think that he has a lot to give. I think that he plays with a lot of heart. He's a high flyer. He's a great rebounder. He's a decent shot blocker, but he runs the floor. He looks for the open guy. He plays smart basketball. I think that he could be he's never going to be a Kevin Love or an Anthony Davis, but I think that he has absolutely all the potential in the world to be a starting 4 in the NFL. Or NBA, sorry. Watching that. Ceilings for this Cavaliers.
Right where it is.
I mean,
potential to get better? No.
12 seed ceiling, 14 seed reality, 15 seed basement. Their ceiling is their basement.
They
live in a ranch.
They're just trying to get.
They live in a ranch in Florida.
They're just trying to develop.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out everything they got going on for them. So let's move on to the Southeast and the East. There, the only playoff team in the Southeast last year was the Orlando Magic at 42-40. They finished with a 7th seed. The Orlando Magic, to start out the year, have a projected starting lineup of DJ Augustine and Evan Fournier at the backcourt, Jonathan Isaac and Aaron Gordon at the forward positions, and Nikola Vucevic locking down the center position.
Not much change there.
No, not a whole lot. I mean, I was surprised to see both through the offseason and last year's trade deadline that Vucevic remained on the team. I thought that was going to be big trade bait for rookie transactions for sure.
I honestly, I think they only decided to keep him because they were in the playoff hunt.
Right. But I'm saying, but even throughout
I agree.
The postseason or the offseason. Notable backups they have Mo Bamba, Michael Carter-Williams, and the big question mark for them is going to be what happens with Markelle Fultz.
Exactly.
The offseason, Markelle Fultz there's a lot of videos of Markelle Fultz showing improvements, showing that he's kind of getting his shot back a little bit, that he's
They're
kind of
baking hard off
for him.
Markelle Fultz coming back.
Right, and so Markelle Fultz, that's a big thing for them. If Markelle Fultz can come back, Kendall's currently racing me and stop drinking mass.
Mass has been dipping on my my beer through most of the night.
Kendall noticed
I've
that
only
I
had
poured
2
a third
sips.
beer, so he chugged the second one because Kendall cannot stand.
That's not true.
It's 100%.
It's absolutely true,
Kendall
Kendall.
cannot stand to not be at least even in beer count with people.
That's not true.
It's
100%
absolutely true.
God, someone call Jeff right now and have him back it up too. Anybody who's ever drank a lot of beers with Kendall can back that up.
Anyway,
Kendall, I remember vividly a Sunday in college where you went up to go to the bathroom. You went up to your room for a second. You came back down. I told you Paul was 2 beers ahead of you. You immediately crushed 3.
And then asked if I finished my other one yet.
Yes.
I love you guys.
We don't love you.
That's fine.
Oh, Kyle and I, by the way, if we can't make it to your wedding, we're going to Horseshoe Curve that weekend.
Oh man, that's where it's happening though.
Oh, then we're going to be going to Poughkeepsie Point.
That's where mine's going to be happening.
You know what's funny? You know, Riddler. You know, he knows the places. You know, though that wasn't exactly a spot that you just watch trains. He knew a destination that definitely had trains in the past, and he ran with it, and he was correct. So that's funny.
Moving on in the division, the Charlotte Hornets.
We didn't really talk about like where their ceiling is.
Oh, the Orlando Magic. Oh, sorry.
I think they fall out. I don't think that team got better at all.
No, I don't think they got better. I think Detroit got a little better. Indiana's going to be much improved. Milwaukee's still going to be as good as they were. Philadelphia's going to be as good as they were, if not better. Toronto's going to fall off, but they still have enough talent. They're still more talented than Orlando. Boston might fall off, but still more talented. Brooklyn, I think, got better. I think, I think the Orlando Magic can still compete for the 8th seed. I think, realistically, I think the 2 teams vying for that 8th seed spot are going to be the Orlando Magic and the team we're going to talk about next, which is the Miami Heat.
Hey guys, we're watching a Kyle Shanahan coach game. He is currently up 28-3 in the 3rd quarter.
Ha.
So the Miami Heat last year finished with a 39-43 record.
Calling Mike Buck. Will he answer? We don't know. Yo.
So are the Browns bad or the 49ers good, or is it a mix of both?
The Browns' offensive line is terrible.
Yo.
Baker Mayfield has not had any chance this whole game.
So I've been texting Sebi back and forth, and I've been very nervous about this game coming up this weekend. And then I realized that Nick Bosa was going up against Greg false start Robinson, and I wasn't as worried anymore.
All right, so moving on, just leave Mock off for now. We're going to finish up the Eastern Conference, and we'll call him back in for the wrap-up.
He said he couldn't. I just tried to figure out if we call him, whatever, but he didn't answer. So
the Miami Heat finished 39-43. Their big thing from last year, I mean, I don't think a lot of people really had playoff on the mind for them. The real media output for them was the farewell tour for Dwayne Wade. And you want to know what? Still, I'll defend it forever. I think Dwayne Wade is a top 3-2 guard NBA history.
Yeah.
And, that guy made sure he went out great. I mean, that game that he had, I forget what team it was. I think it was the Warriors where he hit that he got the shot blocked.
Step back fadeaway.
Yeah, recovered it and then hit the 1 foot off balance fadeaway.
He was a Sixer killer.
He was a bull killer too.
Killed everybody.
He was so good. He was so good. He was one of those players that
he could probably still play at a high level.
He just wants to focus on his family, and I commend him for that. I mean, the guy. You figure this guy. It's not like he went out and just married a woman and had 2 kids. He went out and married a woman that also, just kind of like what Justin Verlander's dealing with. In the MLB with Kate Upton.
High-profile person.
It's 2 high-profile people that travel a lot, and you can't raise a family that way.
Yeah.
One career kind of outlasts the other. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it goes.
He's older.
Right, and
a lot of wear and tear.
And Gabrielle Union can do what she's doing for many more years than Dwayne Wade can do what he's doing.
He has a lot of wear and tear.
Plus, Dwayne Wade has had a semi-successful shoe line. He's been, he knows lots of people in media and clothing, fashion.
He's a super successful person.
He's a very smart guy.
Playing.
He's a very smart guy. But anyway, so the Miami
Banana
Heat,
boat.
Hey, Souls, what are you rocking?
Projected starting lineup for the beginning of the year: Gordon Dragic and Deion Waiters, with their forwards being Jimmy Butler and Kelly Olynyk, with Bam Adebayo holding down the center. Obviously, if you hadn't been aware, get out from under the rock you're on. The big acquisitions and departures. Hassan Whiteside was traded to the Portland Trailblazers. And
forgot about that.
And they traded from the Sixers to acquire Jimmy Butler, which cost them
Josh Richardson,
which is a big loss.
Yeah,
but they got a, as Kyle said, Josh Richardson is kind of a younger mold of what Jimmy Butler is. So you got what you're looking for in Josh Richardson now, and Hassan Whiteside. Things have just kind of been off kilter for about 2 years with them. Things
since
have
that
just,
playoffs,
ever since they played the Sixers in the playoffs, when he wasn't logging minutes, things just haven't been the same. So hopefully a fresh start for both of them, because Hassan Whiteside is a good talent.
Yeah,
very good defensive talent. Notable backups for them: Tyler Hero, Justice Winslow, and I mean Myers Leonard. It's funny, there's going to be some more moves. If you look at their depth chart on ESPN right now, I'm going to read you their depth chart. Okay. So, Goran Dragic is the starter for point guard. Justice Winslow is the backup. Dion Waiters, shooting guard. Tyler Hero, backup. Okay, now this is where it gets better. Small forward, Jimmy Butler, backup. Kelly Olynyk. Power forward, Kelly Olynyk, backup. Jimmy Butler. Center, Bam Adebayo, backup. Kelly Olynyk. So you have 3 spots where your backup is your center. I mean, it's like an underpowered defensive line for an NFL team where it's just like, yeah. The backup left end is the guy that's playing right end right now.
So that's probably not great.
What I am going to say, I personally think they should do this. I think Dragic should come off the bench. I think Winslow last year Winslow was the starting point guard.
I disagree. Though.
He killed it.
I understand that, but I disagree. I think that Dragic and Waiters should come off the bench, and I think that Winslow and Hero should start. And I think that Hero should be that guy that plays 20 minutes and gets overplayed by Dion Waiters. But I think that they need the spark off the bench. They need the guys that can come off the bench and score the points.
Well, Dragic could play the 2.
No, I understand that, but I think that...
Oh, wait. No.
He could play the 2.
Well, Winslow doesn't bring the ball up.
Guards are interchangeable. Guards are always interchangeable.
I'm just trying to think of
if you're playing in the NBA as a point guard and you can't play shooting guard, there's something wrong with you. I mean, as just aforementioned with Dwayne Wade, he played his entire collegiate career as a point guard.
Yeah.
And made the transition into a shooting guard immediately, and guess what? It was pretty fucking good. So, ceiling for the Miami Heat, like I said, I think that they could vie for that 8 seed just because they do have Jimmy Butler, who's a game changer.
They also have a top 5 coach.
They also have a top 5 coach, and Jimmy Butler, as I think everyone can kind of agree with what we saw in both Minnesota and Philadelphia, Jimmy Butler is at his best when it's Jimmy Butler and the team versus Jimmy Butler in a team. When Jimmy Butler is surrounded by other talent, it hinders Jimmy Butler a lot. And Jimmy Butler, to me, doesn't play the same when everyone's getting touches. It's not a greed thing. I just think that Jimmy Butler, he's a very streaky person. But the streaks are longer than they are shorter. So when he is forced to not be taking all those shots, and it's just going to be, plus the thing too is there were so many good perimeter defenders on that Sixers team with Simmons and Butler, and even Tobias could hold his own from time to time and whatnot, that Butler didn't have to guard their top guy. It didn't matter. Butler, when he was guarding the top guy in Chicago, it meant something, and he played better defensively.
Are we at the fun one right now?
Well, I think I said vying for the 8 seed would be the ceiling. Reality, 10 seed.
Yeah.
Low.
Even 9.
Yeah, 10-9 seed. Like I said, fighting for that 8 seed, so 10-9. Low, 13 maybe. I mean, I don't see him finishing that bad. Unless you think differently.
I don't see him as a playoff team just because I don't think the pieces around him are...
I think if they make the playoffs, it's definitely going to be a combination of MVP caliber football, or Jesus Christ, I can't keep looking at this. MVP caliber basketball from Jimmy Butler combined with absolutely perfect bench coordination from Spoelstra. It's going to take that, that I can't even think of.
I think a month. I think it takes a month for everything.
But the thing is, I can't even think of a team where it was just kind of one guy and the coach versus kind of everybody else.
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? You can't say Popovich and Duncan because they always had a good supporting cast. You can't really, the years that Kobe was dominant, there was somebody else. I mean,
well, you can say Kobe because he did bring them to the playoffs with a very shit team. They were the 8 seed, but he brought
I guess you could say LeBron and
Barry White.
What the fuck's his name there?
Like recently,
the black guy with the glasses.
Mike Brown.
Mike Brown. Because the pre-South Beach days,
okay,
they were a regular staple, and that team was not good.
No.
I don't even know how that fucking team made it to the finals, and I refuse to believe that it was because LeBron James was on that team.
No, they had Big Z. That's why.
Oh yeah, and Andre Verdejo, otherwise known as Carlito.
Classic Andre Verdejo situation.
All right.
He's playing somewhere.
Moving on to keep going with the division, the Charlotte Hornets.
Yikes.
The Charlotte Hornets finished last year at 39-43. You can
time
go ahead and knock 38 of those wins off now that Kemba Walker is gone. Their projected starting lineup is Terry Rozier, who they acquired in the Kemba Walker trade, and Nicholas Batum, Dwayne Bacon, and Miles Bridges at the forward positions, and Cody Zeller rocking out at the centers. Notable backups, well, there really aren't any because there aren't any notable starters.
Well, Marvin Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Marvin Williams, Malik Monk's not terrible. Bismack Biyombo is terrible. Devontae Graham, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I mean, let me tell you something. And Kyle and I have talked about this a billion times. This team's rebuild and success in terms of roster depth is almost 100% weighted down on this fucking Nicholas Batum contract.
Yeah.
It was such a bad, and I understand you have to give players money because you can't fall under the line. At
the time, Nicholas
every
Batum
team has a
was at the
ceiling,
time.
right? And Nicholas Batum was playing very well, but they went out and they gave him fucking supermax money at the time. And
superstar money.
While there is a ceiling, there's a salary cap. There's also a floor. You have to meet a certain. You can't just pay everybody peanuts and put out a bullshit team. You gotta pay people. And
when the Hornets gave him the contract,
but the problem is that he's fallen off from that. And so now nobody wants Nicholas Batum, and they're stuck with this contract.
I don't think and nobody wants him. I think nobody wants a contract.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
He was a different player for the Blazers because of the pieces around him. The Hornets made him the lead guy, and he is not that. He's a very good defender, very good.
I think Malik Monk takes over the starting point guard position.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I think he starts into 2 over Batum. I think you're just going to see a massive young haul. I like what they did with Dwayne Bacon and Miles Bridges because they did it. What's the point? Fuck it. If you suck, you suck with the kids. Let them develop.
I agree. That's an excellent point.
The ceiling for Miles Bridges is not superstar. I don't think he's a star, but I think he's going to be developed into a very young, good player.
Well, for sure, a household name.
He's a very explosive player.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, so I'm sorry to interrupt.
And we're gonna see if playoff Scary Terry can be a 82 game thing.
If it happens, awesome.
Right.
I would like to see that for them.
Yeah, because he's young, and it helps get an immediate jump start on that rebuild.
So, real quick, how you doing on those shots? Did you knock them out or no?
I'm close.
You're close? All right.
I mean, I think the ceiling for this team is the 13th seed. I think expectations are 14th, and I think the basement's 15th.
I think they finish last.
I don't think, like I said, I mean, I think the only two teams that could finish.
I am intrigued by them.
The only two teams I think that could finish worse than them are the Cavs and the Knicks.
I am intrigued by the Hornets for a couple reasons. One, I like them. I always will. Two, I'm very interested in seeing how the minutes for Dwayne Bacon and Miles Bridges up their game. And I think Miles Bridges is going to benefit, and Dwayne Bacon's kind of whatever.
So moving on, the Washington Wizards, the projected starting lineup for the beginning of the season. Oh, sorry. They finished last year. My bad. Last year they finished 32-50, and their starting lineup projections are Bradley Beal and Ish Smith in the backcourt.
Hashtag Ish Smith.
Troy Brown and Davis Bertans in the forward position, and Thomas Bryant holding down the center. Oh, boy. Yikes.
If they didn't have Bradley Beal, they'd be the worst team.
Yep.
And I don't think they'll have Bradley Beal for much longer.
What's the whole John Wall situation?
He's out for the year.
He's out for this whole year, too?
Yeah. Great money given to him, too.
Yeah, but I mean, that's different.
Yeah, I know. At the time.
That's different. Well, no, but it's not that. It's just, at the time, the Batum money made sense. It's just the John Wall thing, that's its injury. You can't can't do anything about that.
But I think, one, Bradley Beal will average probably 27 points a game.
Yeah.
He's that good shooting the ball.
Right.
I do think he gets traded. I don't know to who. But he's a very good player. Like he should be an all-star for the next 5-6 years. That's how good I think he is.
He's very good. I think that. I mean, I don't know where he'd really fit in, but like he's kind of like exactly what the Sixers need.
Yeah, but
where?
Well, you could put Richardson off the bench, but you would probably have to trade him.
Probably would have to trade him.
You know, like they have these two young kids, but these two young kids haven't proven anything. It's only a matter of time before Thibault gets hurt.
Or you can dump Tobias.
He just gave him so much money.
But he's young enough that it would be intriguing for the Wizards. It would kind of give them that push start for the rebuild.
What do you think you can get for Tobias?
Bradley Beal.
Get Bradley
You
Beal.
probably have to give up more than just Tobias Harris.
You'd have to give up more because of the contract. That's really what it would boil down
they're
to.
probably making about the same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
probably have to give up a pick or two, which I'm fine with.
It would be like Tobias, a young guy, and like a second rounder for like Bradley Beal and a second rounder.
Yeah.
Like it would be like peanuts for peanuts after those two. It would really just be a kind of an even swap. You just add a little bit more because of, they already know what they have in Bradley Beal and what he fits in the system. You don't know what you have with Tobias in the system.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, anything's an improvement on this fucking team.
But like Bradley Beal, he will make any team better.
I guess, I agree with you. Bradley Beal being there kind of solidifies them as not being a bottom dweller, but I don't see him competing for a playoff spot. No. 11, 12.
I think they finished dead last. I think the Hornets finished with a better record. No, I don't.
I think the Wizards will finish with a better record than the Cavs and the Hornets.
But here's the big story about the Wizards. Ish Smith playing for like 37 team. And he's not even like 28 yet.
Well,
and he's not even good.
No, that's a plus on him, of course. Not good. Are you serious? The guy's playing on 37 teams.
He's just generations Luke Ridnour.
Yeah.
All right, and rounding out the Eastern Conference,
Awesome reference.
We have the Atlanta Hawks, who finished with a 29-53 record last season. Projected starting lineup for them to start off the season is Trae Young and Kevin Huerter at the backcourt positions.
That's your boy.
Yep. DeAndre Hunter and John Collins at the forwards, and Alex Len holding down business at the center position.
All about that starting five except Alex Len.
Backups include Evan Turner, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Bembry, Jabari Parker, and Damian Jones.
This is a team where I think they make the next step.
Yeah.
I know they're young, but they're like the young talent's too talented to.
And Trae Young looked really good.
Yeah.
I see them as I could see them as a 7 seed.
Yeah, and John Collins is pretty sick. The only player I have a problem with on that team is Alex Len.
Yeah, but if they play small, Jabari Parker can do service.
And they can honestly trade a younger guy for more upper.
They have a plethora of they have an absolute plethora of youth.
More upper level center, you know. But it's just going to depend, like where they are. If they're fighting for a spot and a team's falling out, I can see them trading one of those younger kids for, like a Steven Adams would fit perfectly in that team. I think Steven Adams would be the perfect fit for the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
Like they need a guy that can get rebounds and play some defense.
Next to that.
And the Thunder are looking to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right there, you're the Thunder. You're like, all right, give me Damian Jones, who's a young center.
Yep.
And Cam Reddish. And maybe a second-round pick. Second or first.
No. I think it's overpaying.
Well, I'm only saying Cam Reddish because they have too many of the same player on that team. Because DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish are basically the same player.
Yeah, but I could also see Damian Jones, Kevin Huerter, and a first-round pick.
Okay.
Because the first-round pick for the Hawks, worst-case scenario, it's a low-percent lottery pick. Best-case scenario, it's that middle-of-the-road pack anyway. Mm-hmm. So, it's still a wild card, but you're still getting a first-round pick out of it. And then the Hawks are getting to keep Cam Reddish, who can slot right into where Huerter was, and you see what you have out of him. You know what I'm saying? I can't see them if they're giving up Herter. I think that I think more than Adams is coming over from OKC. More like notable shit.
I got you.
But
I think honestly, now that we're talking about it, I want that to happen.
Ceiling is 6 seed. I think the ceiling is a 6 seed. I think their expectations are contending for a wild card or contending for a playoff spot. You know, that whole race down to the end. And basement would be like 10 at the worst. I see them, and I say 10 in the aspect that they would still be fighting for the 8 seed, but like missing it a little early.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I agree with you. I think they're poised to take the biggest leap in the East.
Yeah.
Because I could see them, if everything starts to mold well for them, and if they do kind of get that difference maker at the center position, I could see them maybe pushing for 6. Be a surprise team. Trey Turner's a good guy. Good player. He's a great kid. And Kevin Herter, Dwayne Wade's boy. Love it.
Is that the jersey he swapped with?
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
Yep.
Who was the jersey that like he declined?
I don't remember. It was a veteran. Oh, Jimmy Butler.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, on the Sixers. Jimmy Butler was like, "You want to trade?" And he goes, "I already got so many of your fucking jerseys. I'm trading with Ben." But Kevin Herter when Kevin Herter was playing in college, his entire college career, he was rocking Wade shoes, and that's why Wade swapped with him.
Okay.
Game recognizes game. That's your boy right there, Kevin Herter. Kendall.
He looks like you.
He does look like you. He's a pale redhead.
Just doesn't.
Don't act like you knew who he was.
I'm aware. I mean, I guess.
What school did he go to?
Who besides you would know that?
If I were to guess, Kyle, is a Wake Forest guy.
I'll give you that. It's the same conference.
I'll give you that. And why do you think that he was the only person that would know it? That's bullshit.
That's awesome. Do you know?
I do know.
Because
of the whole Dwayne Wade thing, I did research on it.
It was an entire gamble that I guess that...
It's not Wake Forest, but I give you credit.
Well, thank you.
I'll give you a hint. It's the state where your least favorite football team plays.
Ooh.
Boston College?
Sorry, hold on. All right, never mind. It's the
My
state,
least favorite
It's the
football
state
team.
where Kyle's least favorite football team plays.
Ooh. You know, it's a shame that doesn't help me.
How does it not help you? What's Kyle's least favorite team?
Your girlfriend knows.
Well, Kyle hates
Ravens?
the Ravens.
And where do they play? What state do they play?
Maryland.
They play in Maryland.
Right.
Is
Okay,
it
so it's
Maryland?
Maryland.
Is it Maryland College?
Maryland University.
Yeah.
But
Don't overthink it, Ken.
That's
But
not
no,
your
but-
least favorite team.
But, you know, I tell you what, I'm sorry. I'm not an academic, hater, but, that's the worst, team ever. So, what a terrible...
Yeah.
All right.
Couple Final Four appearances. All right,
what
so
a terrible academic performance as well as, if you went to Maryland academic, then forget you.
Kendall, real quick, give me who you think are your top 3 teams out of the East this coming year.
Out of the East?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. So, you know what? I still hang tough, in as much as a hate is for me. I think, the 76ers, they hold tough. And, hey, big push for them. They make 1. Number 2, the Boston Celtics. Number 2. Number 3, we keep it in the same division there. And we hold it true to the guys from Canada. And number 4.
No, I just wanted top 3. That's it. Cutting you off.
And number 4,
Mass?
the San Francisco 49ers.
Top 3? 1, 2, 3? In order?
I don't feel educated enough to be able to give a top 3.
How do you not fucking feel educated enough? We just spent 90 fucking minutes going over the Eastern Conference.
Maybe if you paid attention and did the homework like I told you last week.
I asked twice what we were supposed
It's
to
really
do.
hard doing a
I said it
2.5 person
in the
podcast.
group chat. I said it.
It's just hard doing a 5-man, 2.5 person podcast.
Sixers.
I only say 2.5 because
Pacers.
Kendall's usually drunk 90 minutes in and he can't focus for the rest of it.
Sixers, Bucks, Pacers.
We asked me that question,
Sixers, Bucks, Pacers.
Never mind.
I didn't want you to give yours.
Oh.
I want him to give me your top 3.
No.
Okay, perfect. A lot of credibility on the show. I wanted you to give me your 8.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I can do that.
That's
Sixers, Bucks, Pacers. Celtics at the 4.
Anything.
Nets. I'm thinking, dude.
I know.
Nets at the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if If you don't know, just make
Raptors 6, Hawks 7, Pistons 8.
Okay. All right. I'm going Milwaukee at the 1, Philadelphia at the 2. And I like that better because I think Philadelphia will stumble at the 1 against the 8. I just see them doing that. But Milwaukee at the 1, Philadelphia at the 2, Indiana at the 3, Brooklyn at the 4, Detroit at the 5, Boston at the 6. What am I missing here? Boston at the 6, Toronto at the 7, Atlanta at the 8.
Same teams.
Same teams, just a little different order. All right, so that wraps up the Eastern Conference. We got a couple weeks before the basketball season starts, so next week
we're going to the Western
Souls and I will roll through the Western Conference. If
Max.
any of you guys actually want to do some homework.
Now that I know what we're actually talking about.
He did this last week. He said last week what we were going to be talking about.
And I also sent it in the text.
I asked 3 times while we were here tonight.
I also sent it in the text
You couldn't have
last
done it you couldn't have done it in 5 seconds.
Sure, I could have.
No, you couldn't have. No, you couldn't have. You would have looked up and you would have saw. The only thing I looked up, because I did my homework ahead of time, was the depth chart and the projected starting 5. You can't tell me anything about Kevin Huerter's game. Tell me something about Kevin Huerter's game.
It's good.
It's not. It's average. So you're already wrong right there.
He's a 3-point shooter who plays scrappy defense.
Yep. He's everything that they wanted J.J. Redick to be in Philadelphia.
Yeah, except, he exposed J.J. Redick in Philadelphia.
Yep, that's true. All right, so
Twice.
10:27, so there's not really much need for a break here. We'll round out the last 30 minutes. So I guess we can kind of do an open table discussion. Souls, I know that you had a big hot take that you wanted to kind of discuss.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and do this? So a big hot take, going kind of switching back gears to
I
the
have
NFL.
2 kind of like in the same thing.
All right, well, so we're going to switch gears back to the NFL for both?
Yeah.
All right, so we're switching gears back to the NFL. One is a homer thing for your team. So
It's kind of both Steelers related.
Okay, so go ahead. Just lead us off.
I honestly think that Delvin Hodges plays very well this week, and I think he gets the win for the Steelers.
Against Cleveland, right?
Chargers.
Chargers, okay. Well, you guys haven't played Cleveland yet?
No. I honestly, cause what I've heard and what I've seen from the recap and everything, he plays with a lot of guts.
He just doesn't play scared, which for a third string guy coming in very unexpectedly, after a very scary situation when the whole stadium went silent, he came in and I'm not saying he played careless, but he just played like I'm gonna try to hit Juju on this deep ball. If I throw a pick, I throw a pick. But it's double coverage, but I'm going to trust Juju, and I'm going to throw it. And, there was only one throw that he made that was really bad. And luckily, I think it was James Washington or Johnson. Is that a guy on your team?
Deontay Johnson.
I think it was Deontay Johnson. Bailed him out because he actually grabbed the arm of the Ravens safety and pulled him so he couldn't intercept the ball and just ate the 10-yard offensive pass interference. Otherwise, it would have been a pick in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it was a good defensive play by Johnson. That was really the only bad throw. But I mean, he ran, he stayed in the pocket. He did all the things that you'd want to see from somebody coming into a game. He played fearless.
And I think just by I know that I've heard a lot about him watching the preseason games. His pedigree in college was that he led the whole nation in passing yards.
Yeah. And, so I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off just for a second because, for the work situation, Kyle has seen more Steelers games than I've seen live. I follow it as much as I can, on the streams or whatever. And the games that have come down to when the Steelers should have won have not been resulting in the Steelers making a mistake late. I said that incorrectly. I said...
Poor Robbie Gould.
The Steelers have made mistakes late in the game, and it's not the quarterback making the mistake.
They lost 3 games by 3 points.
Right. The Steelers drove down this past game. It came down to a fumble off of a reception by a wide receiver, fumbling the ball, and the ball is given back to perhaps the best kicker in the football. And the Ravens, Justin Tucker kicking a long field goal.
I'd like to make a point, and this is my honest opinion on it. And this is not a homer thing. It's no secret that I've, prior to actually being friends with Kendall and Kyle, I've always had a soft spot for the Steelers. They're not my second favorite team in the NFL, but they're in the top 5. This is not a homer thing for them. This is the Steelers' struggles offensively, forget the quarterback position. I'm talking strictly Antonio Brown here. It is less, in my honest opinion, it's less about Antonio Brown not being there, forcing Juju to be the number one. I think it's way more about nobody else on that receiving core has stepped up to even be a somewhat decent 2. Moncrief came in with a lot of expectations, dropped 4,000 passes against the Patriots. Johnson has kind of been coming along a little bit, but not fast enough to make people feel uncomfortable guarding him one-on-one or forcing a zone on that, a zone defense. And the same thing with James Washington. And I personally think that the offensive coordinator is very, very much underutilizing Vance McDonald. I
agree.
I just think that it's important that there should be zero shitting on Juju Smith-Schuster's capabilities to play the one. I think he's been playing it fairly well. But there hasn't, when you're not utilizing your tight ends on the checkdowns and under routes, and you're not utilizing your running game is not being productive properly, and you're going through quarterbacks like fucking tissues. Yeah, it's hard for your number one receiver.
You know what? Those two young quarterbacks have played better in the 6 quarters that Ben's played.
Right, and listen, I agree with what you're saying.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, for all the people out there, for the quote-unquote Mike Mocks of the world. Sorry, Mike Mock, but he has the question marks about can Juju play number one? Can Juju play the one? And he because him and Kyle get under each other's skin so easily with these shits, it'd be very quick for him to be like, well, Juju's not doing anything. I think Juju is performing very adequately given the circumstances and given that nobody has stepped up to be a 2, and. Right.
They play a lot better in no huddle, and you saw it in that game.
Right, and you have Juju playing the 1, and you have a bunch of guys that are playing like 4th string receivers. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, a lot of Dante Moncrief, if he's in the game, I feel very comfortable putting a linebacker on him. If I'm a defensive coordinator. And then, so what's your next hot take?
So real quick, I want to wrap up the Steelers really quick.
It's already wrapped up. No, we're not done with the Steelers. It's got another hot take. So the Steelers are not wrapped up yet.
Okay, well then forgive me. I guess what I want to say real quick is that the Steelers have lost games late versus, playing poor football. Listen, I'm never going to accept, hey, you fumble the football. That's unacceptable. You can't fumble the football in big situations. The Steelers can win 2 games.
But here's the thing. The Juju fumble, I won't put it 100% on him because he turned around and the ball got punched.
Yeah, but listen, you can defend the bang play as much as you want. I can't accept it. I can't accept it. I can't accept a fumble like that. It just, what? Did you see how that way the fumble transpired?
Yeah, they won the game.
Right, but listen, Juju is stripped. The ball bounces for we'll call it 7 seconds because it lands close to the sideline. Unfortunately, I get it. There's no Steelers around, and there's 3 Ravens defenders near it. However, there was not even an attempt to jump towards the ball. So the number game is against you. I get it, but there was no even attempt to try to get the fumble back.
So there was an attempt. They were just far away.
But what? But what is the distinction that you don't battle against the fumble? I don't understand it. A ball comes loose, whether you think it's a fumble or not. A ball comes loose. How do you not? It's your first instinct to try to recover it. I don't. We live in this world.
You got to find it.
Yes, of course you do. But that's the thing. You go into this mode where hey, finding the ball is bigger than you, and that's not what we're seeing. I don't understand.
I don't understand what your argument is.
The point is the ball.
Juju should have gone for the ball.
Fumbled. There was no other Steelers there to get the ball.
The point is the ball bounced around for a very long time, and no one even made an attempt to go near it.
But they wouldn't have gotten there.
Dude, they're all lined up on the other side of the field.
Yeah, Juju was by himself, wide open.
Right. But the point I'm making is that, like, listen, whoever gets it, you're there or not, you make the attempt.
I'm not going to blame Juju for fumbling.
It was. He caught the ball, turned around.
I'm not going to blame Juju for fumbling. Fumbles happen. They do. I'm sorry. They happen to the best of them. And I'm not going to. I mean, the fucking Raiders had a surefire touchdown, and fucking 7th-string cornerback Sherrick McManus fucking peanut punched it out at the goal line. I mean, it happens. Fumbles happen. And it's just how it goes. I mean,
listen,
if I'm going to blame anybody for the loss, it may be unfair, but I'm going to blame Cam Hayward for not knowing what the fuck overtime rules are. That's the guy that probably lost you that game. Because you guys came back. You guys had more momentum than the Ravens did offensively.
You're
and
right.
If you guys chose to get that ball, you would have at least forced them to make a field goal. And Lamar Jackson was not throwing the ball well that game.
Defense figured him out.
So, all right, go on to your next hot take because we got to move on from this. I want to do some more roundtable discussion.
I honestly think that if Mike Tomlin gets fired, I only say if because it's not really his fault this year. If he gets fired, I think the next coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers is Byron Leftwich.
Okay.
Now, reasons? Obviously, besides Byron Leftwich being a previous Steeler.
Obviously, I think just being a Steeler alone helps his cause. And I think Bruce Arians being his coach right now is helping him. Also a former Steeler.
Because he's, the offensive coordinator?
Yes.
For Tampa Bay?
And so many people have said that Byron Leftwich is the next big thing in this league. And, I don't...
He's always had a very high IQ for football. Mm-hmm. Like, when he's come into games, he may not have always delivered in terms of passing the football, but he was very good at reading defenses and whatnot.
And, being... I don't want this to sound wrong, but I think just because there's only one African-American coach right now that's active in the NFL.
There's a pressure, especially after all the media about them firing.
And I think the Steelers, don't really care about that. I think they just want the right guy. And I think they would really think Byron Leftwich.
But it's circumstance.
I don't even know who the coach is. Who is it?
There's how many? There's 2 African American coaches.
Head coaches?
Yeah. Mike Tomlin and Anthony Lynn.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Right, it's circumstance that the right guy, the up and coming head coach type of guy that knows the system and played for the team just happens to be an African American, but it becomes good publicity for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you mean. I understand what you're saying.
It's just like a lot of it just checks out. Yeah, a lot of it just checks out, in my opinion.
It's all falling into place basically for that to be the thing.
Perfect, love it. I would love to see that, to be honest with you. And Mike Tomlin would probably get a job.
Washington.
Even if Washington picked somebody else, though, I think he'd get a job.
Yeah.
I honestly do.
I don't know that I would ever take the Washington job if I was head coach.
You would. Just make it your own team.
You can't. You have Snyder controlling everything.
I have a hot take that's going to have no real discussion besides my own. But my hot take being we see a true changing of the guard in the Eastern Conference for the NHL. And what I mean by that means is that both the Pittsburgh Penguins and Tampa Bay Lightning make the playoffs, but as wild cards.
Okay, who's taking their spot?
In the Eastern Conference, I think Toronto and Boston will continue to dominate and win the playoff spots, and I think that we'll see a coming between Montreal and Buffalo in the Eastern Conference. And then in the Metropolitan, I think Carolina continues to keep playing as well as they did last season. The Washington Capitals are going to play very well. I think the Flyers are a very dark horse team, and I think the Rangers are a very dark horse team. And I give a lot of credit to Kyle for calling that out before the season actually started about the Rangers being a dark horse team this year. He did say that to me in person before the season started, so I can't give him credit for that. Pittsburgh is, in my opinion, they're just a little too old now, and they're very streaky. But Tampa Bay they've not changed. They have not really changed a lot. Their play has stayed the same. They started their first 3 games. It's only 3 games this season, but they started out 1-1-1. They played Carolina, who is a good team, but they only got, you talk about Tampa Bay. When you think of Tampa Bay, you think of the ability to put up 5 goals in a fucking period. They got off 2 shots in 40 minutes. 2 shots in 2 periods.
That's not a lot.
No. I could see Tampa Bay deflating and taking some serious change. There's a lot of talent on that team. I think that there is a little bit more to this whole Stamkos speaking out kind of thing about the team's play and whatnot. I think Stamkos is starting to become uneasy there, and I think we're going to see. I think we're closer than farther away from a Stamkos relocation. I think that Victor Hedman and Kucherov will continue to be the guys there, but I think that Stamkos might be. I think Stamkos he's a little too big for Tampa Bay right now.
So real quick, Riddler. I mean, I recall a little bit from last year. How big is the NHL trade deadline versus other sports?
It's kind of, I think it's like pretty standard to the NBA. I think it goes into like mid-February.
Is there a lot of action?
Well,
I guess. Well, because the thing with the NHL versus every other sport is there's so many fucking people that play at a time. In the NHL, yes, you have your goalie. You have a goalie and a backup goalie, and then you usually have a goalie that you feel comfortable playing in your AHL system. Somebody that you could call up in case of injuries or or whatever type of thing. Or you carry 3 goalies. Some teams do that. But the thing is in the NHL, you have 4 offensive lines consisting of 3 apiece. So there's 12. And you have 3 defensive lines consisting of 2. So that's 6. So right there, you're looking at 18 guys that are getting ice time. Now, we see it a lot where you see the Blackhawks are one of the most notorious teams in the world for it, where, if you have 6 defensemen, you figure, okay, everybody's probably going to average about 20 minutes of ice time. Now, the reason I say that is because you would think 60 divided by 6 would be 10, but no, there's 2 on the ice at a time, so you get about 20 minutes. But the Blackhawks are notorious for it, where Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook will play 35 minutes, and then 2 other guys will play 5. It happens all the time. And that's why the Blackhawks have been doing bad, because they need to stop doing that. Duncan Keith's too old, and so is Seabrook. They don't have the speed to do it anymore. I digress. But we're not going to get into a rant about teams. My own team. But, players get more time than other. You think the 4th string center is getting anywhere close to the same amount of time as Sidney Crosby?
No.
It's not happening. You think the 4th string center in Tampa Bay is getting anywhere near the same amount of time as Stamkos? You think the 4th string right winger is getting anywhere near the same amount of time as fucking Alexander Ovechkin, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid? You think these guys are sharing the equal ice time to 4th stringers? They're not. You see less, and ice times are also very... There's holes when you look at them, because, you look at a thing and be like, oh, wow, Jonathan Toews had 37 minutes of ice time. Okay, well, look at the depth of the game. Oh, the Blackhawks were on the penalty kill 7 times. Well, Jonathan Toews is the primary penalty kill guy. He's the number 1 penalty kill guy for the Blackhawks in terms of forwards. That's who you want on the ice. He wins faceoffs and he plays great defense. So that automatically is going to bump him up about 4 or 5 more minutes of ice time. So there's more that goes into it. But getting back to, there's so many players. So the trade deadline is extremely active. There is so much that goes on, because there's not only do you have all these guys that play, but you also have farm systems. The NHL is the only team besides the MLB that actively uses a farm system, and they use it very well. And unlike the MLB, there is a much deeper international pool of players. So there is just so much that goes on to it. So the trade deadline, and the thing with the trade deadline too is much like the MLB, I'm pretty sure this works in the MLB. In the MLB, if you have somebody who's a junior, right, like a starting pitcher who's a junior, you can draft him, and then he can elect to go back to school.
Yeah.
And then you own the rights to him.
Right? No.
Right. So in the NHL, if you draft you can draft a sophomore right winger who wants to go to school till he's done with his senior year. You own the rights to him. He's not playing in the NHL, but you own the rights to him. So you can trade the rights to players.
So
shit like that happens.
So hypothetically, I could draft a sophomore with my first overall pick, and I'll get him in 2 years when he finishes college.
Yep.
Which is basically the same as picking him when. What am I trying to say? It's like picking a senior I don't know what I'm trying to say. I just can't put it to words. It makes sense in my head.
For what, MLB?
No, like anything.
No, I understand what you're saying. And pick the senior, have him start then, right?
Yeah, and like you pick a sophomore, you have him wait. It's kind of like picking a quarterback, right?
And
Right,
just
well,
and have
you
him
look at
sit.
you look at players. You know, you look at collegiate players like a Jack Hughes, for example. You know, Jack Hughes is poised as being one of the next big things in the NHL. So, if you're a team that is in the absolute beginning stages of a rebuild his sophomore year, you might look at him and say, you know what, this guy is going to be great. He's going to be fucking fantastic. We're going to draft him now. We're going to draft his rights now. We're going to waste our pick, not waste our pick. We're going to use our pick now to draft him. Now, obviously, the kickback to that is that you do not draft anybody at that pick. So if you have the first overall pick, and you know that's why you don't see it with the first overall pick. We see it a lot with like third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You know, you don't see people like Jack Hughes get draft rights because in order to get, you just don't see it. It doesn't happen because players that are that big, there's too much going on. So, but yes. Anyway, long story, very winded, answered short. There is a absolute lot of shit going on at the trade.
So I have another hot point then. Is Panarin a left wing or right wing?
Technically, he's a left winger.
Okay. I think, since off your basis, thinking that Stamkos is getting too big for Tampa Bay, I can see a trade where the Rangers acquire Stamkos.
I could see something like that. Also, going off that name, I think that very early on, with a lot of stuff, but I think Panarin is an absolute dark horse for the Hart Trophy this year. Panarin's big, and the Blackhawks did not. You know, a lot of people like to say this. You know, you look at Reddit and Bleacher Report, Sport Forums. The Blackhawks didn't fuck up, and I'll defend this to the end of time. The Blackhawks traded him the year before his contract was up because they saw how big he was going to be, and they knew that with Taves, Keith, Seabrook, Crawford, and Kane, that they were not going to be able to pay him. Otherwise, the rest of the team would be trash. So they traded him when the value was high, before he needed to get paid. They got a couple prospects and Brandon Saad from the Blue Jackets.
Did it work out for them?
Some of the prospects are still trying to they're still working out their stuff. They didn't trade for one top tier prospect. They traded for a bunch of mid tier prospects.
Is Saad still on the team or no?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And Saad was on the team when they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning to win the championship.
Oh, okay.
So Saad already had team
So this
chemistry
happened a long time
exposure.
ago. Not a long time ago, but it happened a couple years ago.
What? The trade for Saad?
Yeah.
It happened 2 years ago.
Okay.
That trade happened 2 years ago. Saad was originally on the team when they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. And
they traded back for him.
Because Saad did the same type of deal. He's getting too big for us. We know we're not going to be able to afford him. We're going to let him go. We're going to get rid of him. We're going to trade him out. He went to Columbus, and he didn't pan out in Columbus the way that Columbus wanted him to. So we traded
Did
back
he find
for
his
him.
stride back in Chicago?
Streakiness.
Okay.
He fits very well on the Taves line.
Okay.
Right now, they're trying to find what they had in their championship run, which was Taves did really well. When they were winning championships, Taves was never putting up points or in goals because Taves was the scrappy defender that was sitting in front of the net and had snipers on the left and the right wings, whereas Patrick Kane was the playmaker and just had quick sticks at the center and the left wing position. The best lineup we've ever seen was when Jonathan Taves was playing on a line with Patrick Sharp and Marian Hossa. Two guys that could absolutely snipe the puck from fucking anywhere on the ice, and Jonathan Taves just stayed in and screened. And then on the flip side of it, you had Patrick Kane playing with, fucking guys that just were just skating around and getting open because Patrick Kane, if you covered him, he'd find the open man, and if you weren't covering him, he'd find the open crease in the net and just get it there. Mass, you have anything you'd like to add for roundtable discussion?
We didn't talk about the head coach of the Redskins getting fired today. Jay Gruden is now gone.
You and Kendall are just like fucking homers for the NFL. You guys won't talk about anything with the NFL.
We have 2 divisional series that are going to Game 5.
Well, you talk about that because I was just going to text Kyle.
All right.
We'll talk baseball for a
No,
second.
talk Gruden.
I'll talk Gruden for a second.
All right. So, fired from the Redskins. Oh, look, it actually just came up. Fired from the Redskins. I don't know what teams are going to try and seek out for him. Don't know if he reunites with his brother in Oakland.
Here's the deal. Jay Gruden is not a sought-after name in the NFL. It's not been that. It's never been that sake in any spectrum of the NFL. You know what? His hire was, in fact, good play and coaching from his previous encounters. However, he's not a sought-after NFL name. And so the fact that he was hired with Washington Redskins for 6 years, 6 years? 5 years, I don't know. 5 years, 6 years, it's not an impressive number. He's done nothing special. Will he be hired? Yes, he will. He will. In a year's time, less than a year's time. In my approximation, he'll be an offensive coordinator for some team. Forgive me. Offensive coordinator or a quarterback coach in this NFL in the next 2 years, no doubt.
May I make a bold statement real quick before I'm going to let Kyle take the reins real quick or do a quick rundown on the MLB postseason? Can I make a bold statement?
Sure.
Yes. My bold NFL statement. I think that after the poorest performance that we are currently witnessing so far this NFL season, and which looks like it will be the continuation of it, I move that Freddie Kitchens is fired after 1 year of head coaching, and Jay Gruden takes over as the offensive coordinator, and Mike McCarthy takes over as head coach.
I wouldn't hate to see that combination, but Kitchens definitely needs to go after this. There's a reason they shouldn't have let the quarterback hire the head coach.
All right, Souls?
All right, so we'll start off in the NL.
Yeah, you do some rundown real quick of the MLB.
All right, so the Cardinals and both the Nationals were able to make a Game 5 happen.
How much does that make you sick?
Doesn't make me sick for the Cardinals. So I personally believe that the Cardinals are better poised for this game than the Braves. Matt Soroka is a rookie. I don't know if he can handle the spotlight of a game-clinching to the NLCS. Where the Cardinals have been here, and they have a guy in their bag called Adam Wainwright. I don't know if he'll... I don't think he'll be starting in that game, but I think he will definitely see time in that game. Do you agree with me, Mass?
I do indeed.
Okay. I think they did pitch Mikolas today.
Yes.
For 1 inning. But I do think we see him starting that Game 5. Since he is the consensus best pitcher on your team.
I would agree.
All right? And I just think that the Cardinals are more poised for them to win that game. On the other side of it, the National pitch Scherzer. Strasburg is probably going to go next game. Or actually, no. It'll probably be Corbin. And the Dodgers have a whole bunch of righties and lefties they could throw at either one of them. So I see the Dodgers losing that game, in my opinion. I don't know if Walker Buehler can do it again. So unfortunately, I think the Nationals do take away from that series.
Does that upset you?
100%. I do think the Nationals have better pitching, but if it comes down to a bullpen game, I think the Dodgers take away with it. They're going to need 7 innings from their start.
I'd be surprised if the Dodgers don't walk away with a win on this one, but it would certainly be shocking if the Nationals win to me. Dodgers went into this with everything to lose, and looks like they might lose everything.
Well, the thing is, you got Kershaw on deck, and you got Buehler on deck. So you got their 2 best pitchers. It's just a matter of time before you see what happens. Then we go to the AL, where the Yankees currently lead 2-0, looking for a sweep, which will probably happen. Nothing really to take from that. The Twins were outmatched. They don't have the pitching to keep up with them.
Yeah. They gave it what they had, and you know what? It came down to what we thought.
They are who they are?
They are who we thought they were.
The team hits a lot of home runs. That's the only way they can really provide runs for them.
Right.
If the home run ball's not working, they're not scoring.
Right.
And that's a very bad thing in the MLB. And as if Kettle knows, it doesn't really work.
Right. And and the unfortunate thing is that Well, Kyle's just saying, I'm going to reiterate just now. You can put together a really good season as a pitcher. You can go ahead and you can put together a ton of, hey, let's hold on to, hey, we'll give up 5 runs and we'll go 6 innings. It doesn't matter. If you can't go deep in a ball game, if you can't get big strikeouts in a big opportunity, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your numbers are. And you won't hold up in an MLB playoff situation. So,
all right.
So it's all I'm saying. I mean, I it's nothing major. I'm just trying to give the very lame explanation of it all.
All right. And then we got today Tampa Bay beating Houston 10-3. Greinke got shelled a little bit.
Of this Monday, October 7th, 2019.
Prevented the sweep, though.
But, in my opinion, Verlander will take it home tomorrow.
Is he pitching tomorrow?
Yeah.
Really? He's pitching Game 4?
Yes.
Game 5, isn't it?
Game 4.
Oh, it's Game 4.
They're up 2-1.
He will be pitching tomorrow.
Try to close it out of the way?
Because even if he pitches tomorrow, they'll have...
Try to close it out of the way and have Cole for home?
And they'll have Game 2 Verlander. Verlander will be throwing Game 2 if they win the series tomorrow.
Right, so worst case scenario is you have Cole pitching for the closeout at home. Best case scenario, you have Cole pitching the opener.
Yeah.
Big fucking whoop. It's still a fucking shit show for anybody facing them. You have any World Series predictions, knowing what we know right now?
No.
I do.
Personally, I think it's going to be... I do think the Astros pitching is too much for the Yankees. So I think it's Astros, Cardinals.
Astros, Nationals. I think if the Nationals get through the Dodgers, I think they can't be stopped in the NL. They're definitely swept by the Astros, 100%. They're swept by about a run differential of 100. But here's the thing. There's one thing I have that you guys don't. And that's a reason to cheer for the Nationals.
Adam Eaton.
Adam Eaton, baby.
I hope that the Cardinals play the Yankees in the World Series and win because I'll never let Ashley live it down.
Okay, first of all, that series would make me rip out my eyeballs.
Real quick, you guys notice how I just finished my beer and Kendall immediately took his and started drinking it? It's because he can't stand to fucking imagine that. He's going right back to it. Because he can't imagine the idea of being a beer behind. Little does he know that I'm kicking the cake. So he's done.
But the playoffs so far are pretty exciting. You got a couple Game 5 you didn't expect.
Did the Yankees sweep it?
Yeah, they're going to sweep.
Did we say that? They're going to sweep or they have swept?
They're going to sweep.
They're playing tomorrow?
No, they're playing right now.
Are they winning?
2-0.
What inning?
5th. Going into the 6th.
I mean, I don't think anybody really had any expectations of...
No. Like I said, the Twins are all or nothing.
They just don't have the firepower. They don't have the firepower or the pitching to keep up with.
Well, they definitely have firepower. It's just they don't have any other way to generate runs. So, like, you live and die by the home run ball, but nobody else is getting on base, so you hit a solo shot. That's it.
That's what the New York Mets mantra has been.
You know, they put up 4 runs in the first game, all because of home runs. So,
anyway, let's wrap up this show. I mean, oh yeah,
I've never seen Kendall trying to get out of here quickly before.
No, can we say what? I'm very intoxicated. So
yeah, no, we've gathered. Listeners have also gathered.
Yeah.
But next week,
have fun peeing in the bed.
But next week,
and the car,
Western Conference,
and Rebecca.
I already put it in my homework calendar.
Okay.
We're gonna push off Jeopardy for a little while.
No,
Why?
Why?
We are. We're gonna push it off because we have a lot of stuff going on right now. We have the NBA coming up, and NBA season's coming up. The NHL season has just kicked off. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of the NFL season. MLB postseason. There's a lot of stuff to talk about right now. This is the time of the year where we really strive. We'll wait. We'll do. You know, once we get into kind of like the boring part of the NBA season and the NHL season.
So November,
late November, early December.
Well, not December. Well, January is really boring.
January's boring for everything. Not play football. The worst is like April. April and May are just fucking terrible.
Well, April is just the start of the MLB season.
Because the draft is in June, right?
June, yeah.
Yeah, but nobody cares about the start of the MLB season. No, you really don't, though, because you always say the same thing. Oh, everyone's just kind of feeling themselves out and finding their identity.
That's true.
Yes, you do.
I'm all about it.
You've said that, though, but everyone's just trying to find
I'm still
But that's
all
why you
about
see people go out, like 6-string pitchers go out and throw almost no hitters, because everyone else is out there is like, well, let's see what happens if I swing with my dick. All right, that didn't work. All right, let's try something different. Maybe I'll put the bat in my ass and swing.
Another
all right.
bold statement
Then the
by
sixth game comes around and like, maybe I should just grip up a little bit. That worked.
Another bold statement. Garrett Cole is wearing red and white next year.
Really?
Yes.
You think he's a red?
I think he's an angel.
Oh.
No, that's what
you picked very generic colors.
He's a red.
You guys all thought Phillies.
No, I did not. Never once crossed my mind.
Certainly not the Phillies.
They don't wear red.
He will be an angel next year. He's going to go team up with Joe Madden.
Or he goes to Fox and teams up with John Madden.
Or you go to the Phillies.
That's the real team up.
You guys are getting Trout, Kershaw, and Verlander.
They're all old, except for Trout.
Oh, so you'd bitch about getting Kershaw and Verlander?
No. But I do think Garrett Cole's an angel. Mostly because he said it.
I'm an angel next year. This doesn't mean anything to me. I'm actually going to tank this. All right. Social media plugs. Where can they find us, Red Baron? Let's see how well this goes.
Hey, you can find us on Facebook, Getting Supposed to Drunk. Instagram, at Getting Supposed to Drunk. Twitter, at GSWD_4.
Make sure to use the hashtag GSWD for all your daily uses, whether it's urinating yourself in the late wee hours of the night.
Oh, my God.
Or doing solo Eastern Conference, or salvaging a once broken friendship on the show for an Eastern Conference talk about because you were going to do it by yourself, and he recognized that you were going to drown. So he broke out of his anger, and he saved you.
Yes.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome.
I'll buy you McDonald's.
It's mostly mock.
Excellent.
Butterflies.
So
you can find us on Podbean, Spreaker, Apple, iTunes,
Also
wherever you
Spreaker.
find internet radio shows and podcasts, you find us.
And Spreaker.
Spreaker. Make sure to tune in on Wednesdays.
Spreaker.
Wednesdays? To the Peter Pinot Show from 7 to 11.
Also on Spreaker.
On the PPRN Radio Network, also on Spreaker.
And Spreaker.
And anywhere you can find internet radio shows and podcasts, blah, 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 blah. You know the whole 9 yards.
And Spreaker.
But yeah, make sure to keep tuned into PPRN Radio Network at all times for awesome content. And you can always find Getting Sports with Drunk live on Monday nights from 8-ish to 11-ish.
On Spreaker.
On Spreaker, on the PPRN Radio Network. But real quick, beer reviews. Souls, you had the Ferris Bueller?
It was
You've had this before, but...
Yeah, I said it before. It's very good. Very surprising.
Can you give me something? Just give me something. Like, what do you get from a flavor? Like, are you getting some fruit? Are you getting some...
It has a fruity aspect.
What kind of fruit? Come on, work with me. You getting, like, more of a tart fruit, or are you getting some sweetness?
It's more sweet.
So you getting, like berries?
More like a strawberry type.
Strawberry? Okay, good. Some strawberries,
But
some,
I
like,
don't
wild
think-
berry?
But I honestly don't think it's a fruity beer.
No,
but
it
it
doesn't have
tastes
to be
like
fruity, but you can get some fruit essence.
Yeah.
We talking bitter? Is it a little bitter?
A little bitter.
You get a little bit of that IPA,
Yeah.
right? It's an IPA?
Yeah.
So you're getting a little bit of that hoppiness, right? Mm-hmm. Is it overly hoppy?
Not at all.
When you take a sip, are you kind of like quenching a little bit?
Not at all.
All right, perfect. So it's got a good IBU
It's
level.
probably my third favorite beer.
All right, so we're going to do this every week until you kind of just start reviewing things.
Okay.
I'm going to walk you through it. That's fine. But I want you to start. Here's the thing.
Hilarious.
Here's the thing. You have worked yourself from the bush to the craft beers, which there's nothing wrong with the bush. We all love some bush. No. But we need a little bit more from you on these reviews. Just a little bit. I don't care about the journal.
Can I just say one thing? I know I've been saying this every week. I love what's happening in this game.
I know, Kyle. I know you do.
Baker Mayfield has been benched.
It doesn't change the fact that the Steelers are finishing last.
No, not last.
Was he benched?
They took him out.
Finishing third.
Above the Browns?
Bengals.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was thinking about real NFL teams.
So did the rest of the league.
Nah, the Dolphins finished last. Oh, I saw this thing today. It was so funny.
Oh, they play each other.
Are you talking about the...
Dude, next week is Redskins fucking Dolphins.
On
nice.
prime time.
It's
I can't wait for the
They're
Monday
calling
night
it the Tank Bowl.
Which I love.
But
Haskins plays next week?
whatever you think is the best chance of losing.
Haskins.
What was it that you
Thompson.
saw?
I saw this thing. It was like notable upsets, and it was like Seahawks, Rams, Seahawks beating Rams, Raiders beating Bears.
Dolphins not losing.
They gave the scores, and then it said Dolphins 27, bye week 26. And then underneath it said it was an asterisk, and it was like blown pass interference call on Dolphins defense. Mass, you only had a couple shots of Patron. Why don't you go ahead and give us the best you got?
Tastes like Patron.
So gross?
Yeah.
I don't know why you bought the Patron's terrible. Should have bought
I didn't buy it.
I don't know why you even had. You should have thrown it away. Don Julio's way better. Hashtag plugs.
Not a sponsor.
Red Baron, you lead it off with an Oktoberfest from Two Roads.
It was very good. Not suggestively better as a Two Roads beer. However, I'm drunk. I'm sorry.
All right, and then the Hofbrau Oktoberfest mini keg.
Tell you what, as far as that goes, in what I expect of it, it is a very good beer, and it helped me get over the edge.
Excellent.
Thank you all. I'm very drunk. The Riddler, hold it down. Tell me what you want to say.
No, I was just taking a last sip to get a good palate read. So I also had the Hofbrau mini keg.
Exclusively.
What?
Exclusively.
I did. I exclusively had the Hofbrau Oktoberfest mini keg from Munchen. Hail Hydra. It's fucking fantastic. It's first favorite Oktoberfest. It's so good though. It's got a very mild spice. It's the perfect Oktoberfest. It's like exactly what you want. If you've had real Oktoberfest before, if you've been to Germany, and if you've had real Oktoberfest, you understand that Hofbrau is actually good there. You know, it's like the American version is not as good as the German version. I have had the luxury of having German Oktoberfest. But the Hofbrau line is really good. The Oktoberfest, the Lager, the Dunkel, they're all fantastic. Go try them. That's pretty much it. Closing statements? Kyle, any last minute things you'd like to say?
Just can't wait for next week when we actually have more than two people talking about Western Conference.
We won't. We will not. Don't you ever fucking try to get our hopes up like that. Mass?
No, I'm good.
Red Baron?
GSWD.
All right.
Pretty much closes it out.
GSWD is what he said.
We're live on the WB. We are not, by the way. We're only live on Spreaker. Make sure to tune in, as said before, GSWD, Getting Sports with Drunk, every Monday, 8 to 11-ish. Keep looking out for a bunch of content on the page. I'm still waiting for ideas from guys. I'll help you edit them. I'll help you construct them, whatever you want to do. But we need more content on social media. I need you guys. I'm doing the Riddler's rankings for power rankings in the NFL. I'm in the works of starting to do some for some NHL. I'm going to try to do it for NBA. I'm going to try to do power rankings all the time. Try to do power rankings. Stupid. They're dumb. No one gives a fuck about it, but it's content. We need content. So I need you guys to start coming up with some ideas for what you want to do for content. Okay? Souls?
I got something in mind. I'll talk
Mass?
about it out there.
I'm sure I can figure something out.
All right.
It's going to be...
Red Baron?
Come on, baby.
I don't know what that means.
He lost points, by the way. I don't know if you kept any tallies for the drinking game that he wanted to do, but we can do backwards points. Is that retro points, right? Retro?
Sure.
We'll do some retro points. He loses points for getting too inebriated to talk.
No problem,
Actually, I didn't go
baby.
to the bathroom once, so I'm winning this game.
Whatever.
He lost 1,000 points. He went to the bathroom like 12 times.
10,000.
But
We didn't even go over the rules, though.
Mass, I need your help for this because you're better with technology than me.
Okay.
I'll let you know after the air. It's going to be when basketball starts.
Okay.
Bingo. Also, we are going to be doing next Monday. Maxine, hopefully you're listening to the show live. If not, I'll shoot you a text. Next Monday, live on the show, while we're doing our Western Conference breakdown, we are doing a live NBA draft on the show. So do your homework for the NBA draft.
This
What?
is not going to go well.
This week or the week after?
I thought we said for the 21st.
When's the season start?
22nd.
We can do it for the 21st then if you want.
Because I got the kid coming here the 21st.
Okay, so we'll do the 21st then. Sorry, my bad. All right, I didn't realize. So 2 weeks from today, we will be doing a NBA, well, not live like with the board like we did with the NFL draft, but we'll be doing it through Yahoo Sports. Not a sponsor. We'll be doing it on the show, though. We'll be doing the NBA draft. Be a great
We'll also
time.
be live on Spreaker.
Me and the kid that Kyle are bringing are probably going to have sex on the air about Derrick Rose. Be great. But yeah, so anyway, a lot of bullshit jargon. Stay tuned for more content. Next week, Western Conference breakdown, some more MLB postseason talk. We'll kind of break down some some more what's happening in the NFL, things of that nature, and hopefully a little NHL talk if the time is warranted. But until then, I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler. Nope.
Yep. I'm what you want to call either Shake and Bake Souls or Cake Quick Soul.
Or Sandpaper Souls.
I got a lot of names.
I love Sandpaper Souls.
Sandpaper Souls is pretty good. The Mask Christmas.
You know, it's funny because like a recent thing happened at the house because of sandpaper.
Oh, yeah, that was very funny. But we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, it's fine.
But until then, I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler.
Nope. I'm Sandpaper Souls.
The Mask Christmas.
And I'm the Red Baron.
Yeah.